Welcome to Yellow Brick Road. I am Jordan, and today we're going to watch a little debate. I don't know how long this video will be. Uh, I'm just curious. It's Dave Smith versus some guy, and they're debating about regime change in Iran. And I think you can tell where this is going to go, huh? Maybe a little bit, huh? You think? But first, don't forget to share support. Hopefully donate to all the links in the description box. Check them out, read them, share them, then donate. Thank you. Now, I will link the video. I'm sure they're still live right now, as far as I understand. I will link the video so that people can watch on their own, but just heads up, I might be pausing here or there to make some comments, but without further ado, let's jump in. Dave Smith versus some guy, hosted by Matt Gaetz. Here we go.
This question: should the U.S. support Israel in taking out Iran's
Increase
leadership?
audio a bit there.
Taking the affirmative in this debate is Robert Spencer, director of Jihad Watch. Taking the negative is Dave Smith, host of Part of the Problem
Jihad
podcast.
Watch.
I'm former Congressman
You know how
Matt Gaetz. I'll
stupid
be your
that sounds?
moderator.
It sounds
The Zero
so
Hedge
stupid.
debates begin now. Each side is afforded a 4-minute opening statement, and we begin with Robert Spencer.
Thanks, Matt. Obviously nobody wants to go to war with Iran. The problem is, in all of these discussions that I'm seeing about this issue, nobody is actually talking about the fact that not just one side gets to decide whether the war will begin or not. And it may well be that Iran will attack the United States, and it won't be up to anyone whether we go in to fight Iran or not.
We've already set up the precursors are all there. As far as, once again, if Iran attacked us, and if you actually look at all the evidence on the table, the history of it, and all that shit, I wouldn't be my opinion, but I think a lot of people would be like, it's kind of justified. You can see, the evidence is there, right? We've been fucking poking at them forever. We've been regime changing them forever. We've been trying to regime change them forever. We've been subverting their economy, their military. And Trump literally bombed one of their top generals during his first term. And they still held back. So if you start actually shooting bombs at them or whatever, or any type of extra subversions, yeah, maybe they would. I can't say I know, but maybe they would. And some people would be like, oh, it's justified. There's a lot of people in America that would blame the U.S. Anyways, here we go.
Same time, nobody is envisioning the kind of quagmire that we had in Iraq and Afghanistan. Nobody is talking about boots on the ground.
Yeah, they said that before Iraq,
there is talk
too.
about regime change, but that's become a very charged term. It doesn't necessarily mean some sort of wrong-headed, misguided, unfocused project to bring a political system to a people that doesn't want it or understand it. And so what we have in this situation is quite different. The president, as a matter of fact, just today said that he was talking to Tucker Carlson, and he said, "Are you okay with nuclear weapons being in the hands of Iran?" And Trump went on to say, and he sort of didn't like that. And of course, nobody really likes that. And Trump said, if that's okay with you, you and I have a difference.
That is not the scenario. This guy's already lying. Got it. He's already lying.
It's not just Israel that has said that the Islamic Republic of Iran is working on nuclear weapons. This is something that has been abundantly established by investigations of the International Atomic Energy Agency, which is, of course, an arm of the UN, works closely with several UN agencies. And the UN is no friend of Israel. The UN, as a matter of fact, has a standing item. The UN Human Rights Council has item 7 on its agenda every time it meets to condemn alleged human rights abuses of Israel. So
They should. But just like Black Bush said, a.k.a. Dave Chappelle, where's your army? Hey, UN, you got a problem? Where's your army at, huh? You ain't got one? And you should shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
IAEA, working closely with the UN, is not likely to exaggerate an Iranian nuclear threat, but the IAEA says that the Iranians are enriching uranium at a rate that is far beyond peaceful purposes, and that this is
No
indeed an imminent
shit.
threat. And so I
But it's a
hope that the
Western
president
created
doesn't
threat,
have
and if you
to
look at the
strike
evidence
in Iran.
at this point.
I hope that it doesn't come to that. He's still talking today about bringing Iranians to Washington to talk with him at the White House.
To do what?
He's the great deal maker. Maybe he can do it again at this.
Sorry for repeating, like, people who have watched my videos, sorry for repeating this, but it needs to be said just in case someone new shows up and they don't fucking know. Yeah, Trump, like, you had control over Iranian levels of enrichment back during the nuclear deal. As soon as Trump left that, I mean, Iran still stayed at the, you know, energy use enrichment for a while. And there was European countries, and I think Russia was involved in all that shit, where they kept observing it, and they kept their levels. But then, clear as day, once again, if you're a dumb fuck, you don't understand that the U.S. has been trying to fuck up Iran for a while now, especially under the Trump administration. You would see that these guys have done everything to push Iran as far as they can, to where then war breaks out, which it has. Right? So them having the 60% level, it's, once again, it's a result of all the fuckery of Western countries and obviously some devil worshippers in the Middle East too. So, just so people recognize, okay? Just saying. Here we go.
At the same time, it may become, unfortunately, necessary for the real peace of the world
how'd you get here,
strike
though?
Iran's nuclear program in tandem with Israel and to take it out so that this regime cannot endanger the life of the world as it has thus far in numerous ways. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean regime change, but if it did come about, the first people who would welcome it would be the Iranians themselves, who have made it abundantly clear
works for someone.
that they hate this regime. In Afghanistan, they love the Taliban. In Iraq, they couldn't wait to get rid of Saddam to establish Sharia. In Iran, it's different.
Thank you.
There's no way around it. This guy, he has to be ignoring information for the sake of this argument, which means this guy's probably full of shit. I don't know this guy, never heard him before, never heard of him, but he sounds full of shit based on the statements he's already said. I mean, once again, if you ask that, well, how about they do this deal? You have whatever inspectors you want to observe Iranians' nuclear levels, right? And make sure it stays below 5% or something like that, 4%. At the same time, you inspect every other Middle Eastern country and see if they have nuclear weapons. Like, what? No, we can't do that. No. Because this fool knows, and these other two guys know as well. Like, people are aware that Israel has fucking nukes. Not officially on paper, but it's an open secret, essentially. So it's like, yeah, Iran should be like, yo, come inspect our shit, but you got to inspect Israel too, and see if they have any, if they're developing any type of nukes. Because I heard some shit that they might be developing shit. And then you find a secret nuclear program. It's like, oh, fuck. But then again, these guys aren't doing that because Trump is not an honest guy. He's not being honest. He's not being fair. He's not doing this for righteousness. He's not doing it for America. He's not doing it to save your lives. This has been a carefully coordinated, well, not so carefully, but whatever, coordinated plan for years and years over several administrations. Probably, fuck, you'd say decades. This shit has been in the works. Straight up. And now it's trying to come to pass. And you have little cunts like this guy, little dweeb dudes out here, telling us we should do this. It won't be like Iraq, I promise. It's like, what? Like, what do you have to reassure us about any of this? Like, what? Like, the guy they want to bring back, like, the kid of the Shah or some shit like that. Right, the Shah of Iran that got kicked out by Iranians. You want to bring that fool back in to get kicked out again? It's just going to be a power vacuum there, and it's just going to be a disaster. Or a disaster, or at the very least, one of the most horrid moral crimes that's caught on camera and caught on your news feeds. And it's happening in your lifetime, people. Wake the fuck up. Wake up. This is your life they're doing this shit in. Anyways, here's Dave's response.
Thank you very much, Mr. Spencer. Dave Smith, take it away.
I'm honestly almost just in disbelief over this entire debate. I can't even believe that we're here in 2025 after just electing Donald Trump, winning every swing state and the popular vote, that we're actually having 2003 all over again, and with all of the same characteristics, just blatant lies, complete misrepresentation of the evidence, a bunch of different fabricated justifications for the war that aren't even coherent. The truth is that many people, no one wants war with Iran are the first words we hear. No one wants war with Iran. You sure about that? Iran has been on America's list of countries to overthrow since at least 2001. We have a 4-star general on the record who told us that he saw these plans. George W. Bush put Iran
way
on the axis
before
of evil
2001
after 9/11, even though they had absolutely nothing to do with 9/11. He then invaded the two countries that touch it and destroyed the two countries. And you're going to sit here and say no one desires war in Iran? Is anybody who knows anything about DC knows that there are very powerful forces. Not a single honest Trumper, MAGA person in America would say that there aren't powerful forces that have wanted war with Iran for years. And the fact of the matter is that Iran does not have nuclear weapons. The Director of National Intelligence released her annual threat assessment 2 months ago. She reaffirmed it very recently. There's just no evidence of it. And even as you quote the IAE, they came out and said that Iran is not developing nuclear weapons. They have a latent nuclear deterrent. It was in no way something that justified a first strike from Israel. And the idea that this regime change is going to be different, well, why does it feel so similar already? It's based on a lie of a nuclear threat. We're talking about liberating the people. I mean, I guess maybe one of the differences I spot, Matt, I bet you would find this kind of funny, but the Israelis are posting pictures with the son of the Shah. So I guess we're making the world safe for monarchy now. I guess we're in the business of spreading monarchy to the Middle East. Well,
I mean, well, yeah, that's a decent point, but I would almost want to ask the other guy, the dweeb guy, but yo, listen, tell me what your opinion of the whole Iraq thing. Don't just say it was bad. Tell me the details that led up to it. Tell me all the details. And did you fall for it, or were you protesting against it? Right, where you're like, no, this is a bad war. This is a bad idea. Or were you absolutely lockstep in favor of all the steps? And then you find out there's no weapons of mass destruction. I would ask that guy that, straight up. But here we go.
I don't see any indication that that's going to work out any better than spreading democracy worked. And either way, it's not America's business. We have to appreciate, look, as you even mentioned there in your opening, it's like you lay out the argument. Now we don't know what's going to happen.
You got to create a moment, Dave.
The Israelis will sit here and say that Iran attacked them on October 7th because it was their proxy that came and attacked them. Well, by that same logic, is Israel not our proxy? I mean, not that that's exactly the relationship, but we certainly fund and arm them. We're giving them intelligence cover. Evidently, Trump was negotiating to distract them from this attack coming in. And yeah, we don't know now. We have, at least as of 2007, the Pentagon told George W. Bush that we do not have escalation dominance in a war with Iran, meaning they can hit so many of our bases and our embassies in the region. Is a huge risk. And what's going to happen then? You know, it's easy. They all start off, oh, there won't be troops on the ground. It won't be one of the bad regime changes. It'll be a good one. What happens when a few Americans get killed in this? You think Donald Trump's going to take that and not start bombing the hell out of this country? This is so incredibly risky. And just to be clear here, and I'll end on this. I just can't overstate this. When I say this is so incredibly risky, what we're risking is the United States of America. And I don't just mean like because Iran could beat us in a conflict, but honestly, ask yourself, let's say you're wrong. I don't know where you stood on all these last regime change wars, but I know that almost everybody who's trying to sell this one was catastrophically wrong about all the last ones. What's the chance you're wrong here? When I say you're wrong, I mean that regime change doesn't work out well, that actually it becomes a disaster, that actually, even though the people didn't like the government, I don't know, this radical government that has ruled since 1979, with all of the most powerful governments... Okay, I'll wrap up real quick. With all of the most powerful governments in the world trying to overthrow them, they've still hung on. Who's to say that another radical group doesn't go out there? And we're not in the position we were in 2003. We're $37 trillion in debt. Our country is completely divided in a way we haven't been before. Donald Trump needs all the political capital he can right now to get his immigration issues through, and that's all.
Okay, so...
Okay, not bad. I mean... Once again, he laid out information that these guys already fall on, like they turn their brains off and are like they go right back to the clipboard for the talking points, right? These type of, kind of narrative spinners and regime change advocates and all this shit. So I would be like, Dave, make it really simple and stupid so that everyone can see the IQ testing happening. Before, Douglas Murray did it to himself. He showcased that he's a Douglas Murray, right? Even to the word you said, people are being massacred. It's not massacring, it's war, right? That should be your signal, right? Like, okay, you're not some honest person that just happens to fell for a lie, and that's why you're repeating all these talking points. Like, you just honestly believe in, drinking the Kool-Aid that they gave you. Got it. But then there's that other type where it's like, oh shit, you're a fucking spinster, aren't you? You're a little spin doctor, aren't you? Those are the moments you have to create, because guess what? Information-wise, it's all on your side, Dave. You probably have volumes of information to use in this debate. But for the other guy, he has to do spinning and talking points and shit like that. But if you get him to wreck himself by asking simple questions, then we're in business. Then people might realize it's not about two honest guys having a discussion about a topic they disagree on. Now it's like, oh, there's like a concerted effort of cuntiness. Got it. So that's where I would go. I would go way simpler. Yes, you can use the complex arguments once you get there. Once you get deeper into the questioning, then start getting more complex. But initially, I'd want to hear simple answers to simple questions. In detail, but simple. Like, oh, what do you think about the Iraq War? Okay, what do you think about the build-up to the Iraq War? Do you remember it? If you don't remember, I can remind you of certain things that happened. Like, what do you think about all of that? Were you in agreement? Did you fall for a lie? Like, do you agree it was a lie, though, right? You agree it was a lie? Okay. Explain, where were you at mentally? Like, how'd you fall for that? And then how are you out here right now, today, asking for another one to happen? Allegedly. But, all right. Let's get it going.
Mr. Spencer, I want to pin you down on precisely the position you're taking here. Do you believe that there is a basis right now? In your opening statement, you made a lot of the characterizations about what could happen and predictions about potential developments in the conflict. But right now, do you believe the United States should support Israel in taking out Iran's leadership? And can you give me just a quick answer to that question?
Well, it depends on what you mean by support. In World War II, Franklin Roosevelt did not get the United States involved in the war until after Pearl Harbor, but he did everything he could to help the British before that. There was the Lend-Lease program, there was the propaganda war, there were all kinds of ways in which he was aiding the side of freedom against the Nazis before Pearl Harbor, but he didn't get involved until Pearl Harbor. I think that's a perfectly
so is that where you think the U.S. should be today? I just want to understand that for clarity, the sake of your position. Are you saying we should be in a lend-lease, provide weapons to Israel, or do you believe the United States should directly be involved in striking
assets
in Iran?
exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
And the idea that this is some sort of betrayal of MAGA, as Dave was suggesting, is ignorant of the fact that Trump, in his escalator speech, his first political speech, announcing he was going to run for president in 2015, he says, "I'm not going to allow Iran to get nuclear weapons." Now, I don't know what people thought he meant by that. He reiterated that many times over the years, and now he's saying the same thing.
But he created the conditions for this all to be playing out right now. Well, not him personally, but like the whole apparatus of it, of the U.S. government, all played a role in creating the circumstances we're in right now. It's like, I'm wrecked, dude. Whatever. I mean, once again, I'd ask the guy, like, yo, is there any chance, like, or like, I would ask him, like, personally, like, if you were in charge of things, would you, because you think Iran's the bad guy, right? All right, you're like, you already believe they're bad, even if they're not doing anything at the moment. You're like, okay, these guys will do something bad. Is there any chance you would create the conditions to make sure you can actually end up in a conflict with them, and then blame them for why you're in the conflict in the first place? Like, would you consider doing that just as like a way to, you know, take them out? Is that possible? Is that something I might ask the guy, and I might say something like, oh, it's like a cop or a detective that knows that this guy's guilty, so they plant a gun on them or plant drugs on them or something in order to, you know, arrest them because they know that person did something bad or something. I'd be like, how far are you? I'd ask this guy, how far are you willing to go? It's like, I would ask simple ass shit so that when history sees, I'm like, all right, you're on record saying this or that. You're on record saying, oh, I would never support that. Well, here's history, here's the evidence. Just saying.
I think that's a great example, and I would add, it's basically a kind of a Minority Report type of thing where you're saying they're going to do this in the future, so we're going to stop them right now. Which, you know, in a sense, there's some logic to it, but there's also a lot of problems with that, right?
Oh yeah, especially when you had their enrichment numbers. You had them. They were low. You had them. And then you pull out of the deal where you had them at the low levels. It's like they're not, it's like Iran's not allowed to, they're not allowed to not build a nuclear weapon or something. Like you guys better make that weapon. See, look, they're making the weapon. Get them. That's what they're doing. That's what the U.S. policy has been. Make a nuke. Make a nuke. Make a nuke. Threaten at making a nuke. That's enough. Threaten making a nuke. Make a nuke. Whatever. That's good enough for us. Let's go in. It's begging them to commit a crime so that we can go and take them out. It's incredible, dude. Incredible. Create a criminal to arrest a criminal.
Start, right? Like, they never have to actually do it. So you don't really know if you're going to do it if they never have to start, because you're going to get them ahead.
Oh, yeah. It reminds me of that HBO documentary. I think it's called like the Newburgh 4 or Newburgh 5 or some shit like that. Don't quote me on that. But where an FBI informant or asset or whatever the fuck, tried to get these 4 or 5 dudes to blow up an airport, right? Or shoot like rocket launchers off in an airport, right? And these guys are like, damn, that's crazy. And they're like, he's like, oh, I'll pay you $150K each or some shit like that. Some stupid amount of money, right? And these guys, they catch them on, right? Because they're recording them. The FBI is watching them. They're tapping their phones and shit. These guys are like, yo, listen, we're not doing this. What we're going to do is pretend we're going to do it, but we're just going to rob this guy. As soon as we get a hint of where the money is, we take the money, we get the fuck out of there. We ain't doing that shit, bro, because that's like, I'm going to jail forever, or death penalty, or whatever the fuck could happen, right? So those guys are like, nah, we're not doing that. This is crazy. Like, there's street dudes that want to make some money, right? They do some criminal shit. They want to make some money. And they're like, yo, when he turned his back, fuck him up. And what the fuck? How dare you?
People.
Or even one more movie, Predestination, which had a lot of other themes too, but like his whole life mission was to stop this guy, this bomber who was gonna fuck everything up.
Yeah.
And his life's evolution, he turns out that he was the bomber that he has to stop, right? Like,
yeah. The point is, the FBI in that situation, the FBI created terrorists in order to fight terrorism. Like, plain as day did that, at least in that case. And that's what this shit looks like to me. But hopefully I didn't lose my spot there. It looked like the stopped recording or something.
He reiterated that many times over the years, and now he's saying the same thing. And you've got a regime that actually has ordered its people every Friday in the mosques all over Iran. They have to chant "Death to America" as well as "Death to Israel." And it's important to note
that sounds like
this is
bullshit,
not just
but I don't know.
braggadocio or sloganeering.
Where's the evidence for that?
Ayatollah Khamenei actually said not long ago that the situation between America and Iran is this. This is November 1st, 2023. When you chant "Death to America," it is not just a slogan, it's a policy. And it's a long-standing policy, in fact, because it goes back to 1979, to the seizure of the embassy, the taking of the hostages, the taking of the CIA agent William F. Buckley, not the National Review guy, another one, who
another
was
CIA.
Don't worry, he's CIA too. Don't worry about that, Mr. Buckley. Don't worry about that one. He had a quiet feature. A little cameo in the movie Aladdin. But here you go.
F. Buckley, not the National Review guy, another one, who
another
was
CIA agent.
Yeah, well, you probably got a point there. But in any case, he was brutally tortured and murdered by the Iranian regime in the 80s. Hezbollah is a wholly owned and operated subsidiary of the Islamic Republic of Iran, created by the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps. 1983, they killed 241 Marines in the barracks in Beirut. You've got... just a couple of years ago, Tom Cotton asked Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, has Iran attacked any American interests, American bases in the last couple of years? And if so, how many times? And Austin says 83 times. And Cotton says, okay, how many times
Please
did
go
the
over
US
those.
respond? And he said 4. So that's 79 unanswered attacks from a power that is chanting.
Okay, the idea, interests, right? Attacking interests. That is such a vague term. Like, give me fucking details, my man. And once again, maybe there's evidence that they can scream and chant "Death to America" all they want. It's like a kind of irrelevant to even rebuttal to. It's like, let's focus on why are we going to war right now? Why didn't they go to war back then? On and on and so forth.
Interest. He said interest. I missed that.
Yeah.
Like it sounded like it sounded like to me hearing it that he was talking about that they attacked Americans. Did you say interest?
I believe he said interest. Let me back up.
Yeah.
American bases in the last couple of years. Asked Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, has Iran attacked any American interests, American bases in the last couple of years? And if so, how many times? And Austin says 83 times. And Cotton says, okay, how many times did the U.S. respond? And he said 4. So that's 79 unanswered attacks from a power that is chanting "Death to America," saying it's a policy, not just a slogan. And that projects weakness. If you just let that,
we don't want to look weak. Got it. That's a good reason for war.
Then you are
Great
exactly
reason.
The same thing that Dave is saying is going to happen, but not in the way he envisions. You're going to lose the United States.
Dave Smith, your answer to Iran deserves it.
We're gonna lose the United States. You're telling me that militarily Iran is going to take out the United States of America? The idea is so preposterous. This is a country that does not have an air force capable of delivering weapons to us. We're the most powerful country in the history of the world, and this is a puny third world country. Although, compared to the other puny third world countries we've been picking on, they're much, much tougher. But just think about this, man. Everybody, the war fever and the drums are beating. Let calmer heads prevail for a second. I just told you that after 9/11, the war-hungry George W. Bush put Iran on the list of axis of evil and then invaded and destroyed their 2 next door neighboring countries, and your response was the kids yell some chants? Therefore, they're threatening us. I mean, let's get real here, guys.
Well, I want to talk about that threat real quick, Dave Smith, because we saw the House chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee say in an interview recently that however we confront Iran today, it is at least confronting an Iran without a nuclear weapon. And as messy and as bad as all those rough outcomes you described, the argument just that I'm presenting to you is, well, we eventually have to confront Iran, so better to do it now than later. Your response, and then we'll go to Mr. Spencer.
It's just absolutely ridiculous. And like I said, all of the intelligence indicates that they're not trying to get a nuclear weapon anyway. So this is all like it's all just begging the question. It's like you have to like demonstrate that they are actually attempting to get a nuclear weapon before you can just make that call. But you know, as the great Scott,
they increased to 60%, Dave. That's their reasoning. You're supposed to point out how, like, the reasons why all that's happening. At least on the surface, and at least the way evidence is pointing towards. Make him account for that. My humble opinion.
Horton said the other day, Truman did not start a war with the Soviets because they were developing a nuke, and Johnson didn't start a war with the Chinese communists because they were developing a nuke. And this idea that therefore it's okay to just launch a war of aggression because somebody else is developing a nuke. And the wildest thing about it, Matt, as you know, as everybody listening, I imagine knows, there is one country in the Middle East who has secretly developed nuclear weapons and is not a member of the Non-Proliferation Treaty, and that's Israel. I mean, the nerve of them to launch a war.
Don't pronounce it. Make him answer it. Make him answer it. But excuse me, is there any other countries in the Middle East that have nuclear weapons? Sir, can you answer that question for me? You know how they got them?
I think Turkey does.
It's whatever. Name them all. I want that guy to name all of them. And if he leaves Israel off the list, I'd be like, wow.
We placed our nukes in Turkey to scare the Russians for the Cuban Missile Strike.
Okay.
Means we trust the Turkish to do that, at least at the time.
Yeah. Well, we're in a different place now. Just keep it a buck. I'd be like, just name all the countries who have nukes. That's all I would say. Keep it real. Like, make him answer it. Make him answer it. Anyways.
War on these grounds, Iran is in the Non-Proliferation Treaty and is not developing nuclear weapons and doesn't have nuclear weapons. Israel does and lies to the world about it. And this is their justification for launching a war that they want to drag America into? I mean, wake up, people.
Yeah, America.
Robert, is it hypocritical?
Stop with this fucking dragging shit, bro. These fools want to go at, like, U.S. has been subverting as much as anyone else has in regards to Iran. Like, come on. Yeah, we just do it for Israel when we're doing all this. Like, no, like, stop it. Gangsters working with gangsters. Pretty simple.
For Israel to try to draw America into a war over a secret nuclear weapons program when Israel has a secret nuclear weapons program?
No, it certainly isn't. But we got to cover some other issues here, Dave. You know, you're setting up.
So he's agreeing that they have nuclear weapons. He's agreeing they have nuclear weapons. Like, how do you know that?
He just brushed it off.
He's going to move on to different questioning now. As you can tell, he's going to spin. The spin doctors do, right? But I'm like,
the narrative affords him that right to just disregard it. That's even said.
I'm like, we're not leaving this point, bro. We're staying right here.
Whether they do or don't seems to not matter. It's like if they want one, they could have one. What's the problem? That's the reaction he's giving. And even Matt Gaetz won't really push back on it.
I mean, I'd have to stop him right there. Yeah.
Yeah, he's saying, no, I'm not. He didn't answer the question, but he's like, I'm not, and he is. so he's lying, and Andy's ignoring the question.
Like it's like, Dave, it's time to not this is not about you looking good or you winning a debate. Who gives a fuck about it? Like, you need to show people what you're dealing. Like, this is what we're dealing with. See, guys? See? You don't even need me to debate this guy. You can see it now. All right, everyone? If you can't see that, fuck, I got bridges to sell you, bro. For a couple beads. Or a couple $1 trillion. That's so many bridges for you. All right, there we go. Here's a stupid response.
Weapons program when Israel has a secret nuclear weapons program?
No, it certainly isn't. But we got to cover some other issues here, Dave. You're setting up some very big straw men when I list the several, but not all, of the attacks by the Islamic Republic of Iran on the United States, and you respond by saying, "And you say because some kids."
No.
He didn't actually list the events. He just said the numbers. There's 83 attacks versus 4.
79. Yeah, 79 on it.
So it's like
83 total.
They didn't say any of them, right?
Yeah. No, I looked up what he was referencing. Somebody said that about during Biden's administration. Yeah, and there was no information or details. Yeah.
Let me guess. It's all top secret. We're not allowed to look at it. But trust us. We can confirm those guys. Don't worry about that. We know.
He could be talking about in the 90s and Desert Storm time shit too.
So he made that statement, and now that becomes the source.
Yeah.
Like there's no like actual primary sources. It's just somebody said that. Now we can repeat it.
Yeah, and the only one he said in somewhat detail is Beirut. All right, or is it 200 something?
241 soldiers.
Yeah.
The problem is if he names it, we can look at it and see like
exactly.
what was happening.
Exactly.
Like what like how did this happen? Did they just blindly attack us? Were we like what was the situation, right? Like so we can understand
exactly
how we get in this.
Exactly.
Well, we were busy fucking up Iraq, and occasionally they helped us, and sometimes they missed, and they hit us.
All right, here we go.
If that's the case for 79 times.
I mean, as of right now,
Iraq
for me, it's a mystery.
Iraq was Iran's enemy, so we did help them in a sense.
Yeah. I don't know if were they could have been more tied to Kuwait, possibly, right? I don't know.
Well, they fought Al Qaeda and Taliban.
Yeah, they definitely did that, but I'm thinking of Desert Storm, right? Or Desert Storm 1, not the sequel.
Well, the reason why we went in there was because of Iran, because we were protecting Kuwait's oil from them.
I thought it was Iraq trying to fuck up Kuwaitis, right?
No. Yeah. The reason we went because they started bombing some, like 2 or 3 oil ships, and we instantly showed up and said, "You're not doing that, Iran."
Okay. What was with the girl then? The Kuwaiti, I guess that was just extra propaganda on top of it. But that was about Iraq, she was saying, right? The babies in incubators story. Remember
I don't know. There might have been multiple things. I just know that was one of the reasons why we were
complaining. Okay.
Was Iran's thing.
All right. Whatever. Here we go.
On the United States,
that we should attack them.
Well, no. I want to get Dave's answer to that because that was an argument. Here's how the argument is often presented. Mm-hmm. When has appeasement ever worked at deterring Iran? Robert laid out a series of aggressive actions from Iran. They're all accurate, by the way. So when has appeasement ever made them more conciliatory? Because we've tried appeasement a few times, and those events have occurred nonetheless.
Well, yeah, but what events are we even talking about here? Like, I'd highly encourage people to go through and read Enough Already by Scott Horton, where he goes through in details with all the sources and footnotes there. You can look through them for yourself, as I have, that so many of the accusations of Iran developing those roadside bombs during the insurgency in Iraq were complete nonsense. They were lies, just like all the other lies.
What about the launches on our bases that
was Dick Cheney bullshit, right? and then they attributed it to that one guy, to Soleimani. They're like, yeah, this guy, he killed 8,000, 20,000, he killed 8 billion Americans, and we had to kill him. And they were saying, like, oh, wait, he maybe showed someone how to use a device or something, or how to, something like that, right? And I don't think it wasn't Al Qaeda though, all right? I think it was like random like groups in Iraq, pretty sure, maybe Afghanistan too. But that'd be a crazy leap, right? But all right, there we go.
Iran developing those roadside bombs during the insurgency in Iraq were complete nonsense. They were lies, just like all the other lies.
What about the launches on
war.
our bases that Robert mentioned?
The launch. What specific attack are you talking about?
In northern Iraq, we had an American contractor killed. We've had Americans wounded severely because
right. So again, though, it's like you frame this as attacking the United States of America, when in reality, what you're talking about is the United States of America illegally, aggressively invading their neighboring country, handing half the country to them and their influence. Huh?
I mean, Iran also invaded Iraq, so they can't exactly get it.
No, Saddam Hussein started that war, and the U.S. backed him.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, look, that was a war of great tragedy. I guess I'll allow Robert to get in here, and Robert, is there a point you want to make about these events being insufficiently linked to the decisions of the Iranian regime?
I'm not sure I understand the question. What do you mean these events being insufficient?
Well, you list out all these things that you say Iran was involved in. We know that a lot of those were carried out through Iranian proxy forces. I think the point Dave is making is that
proxy forces. No, see, but this is the thing, Matt. They say if any Shiite with a rifle shoots anyone, that counts as someone that Iran attacked America, and it's just nonsense. We don't hold this standard. We don't hold this standard with anybody else. We don't.
If any random group uses an IED, they say, yeah, Iran did that. It's like blaming the guy who invented the pistol for every death, all the pistol deaths around the world. All right?
Hey, unless he's black, then it was Somalian did it.
I got
this Dave guy's I bet you he lets his wife fuck other dudes.
What the hell?
Who?
Fuck, I just say all three of them. All right, here we go.
Say that, like, if America sold weapons to some group, that then they are our proxy now, and if they attack someone else with those weapons, that's America attacking them. Yes, we invaded Iraq and we overthrew the government, which was the minority of the country, right? There was a Sunni minority with a Shiite majority. We overthrew the government and forced democracy on them, and then a civil war broke out.
Sure,
and yes, the Shiites with guns were shooting at our guys.
Robert, your response.
I didn't know that
shit. This is not a matter of some Shiite with a rifle and we say, oh, it's an Iranian proxy. Hamas is a Sunni group, as a matter of fact, but it's funded, 93% of its funding, $350 million, comes from the Islamic Republic of Iran.
Hold on,
Hezbollah was created.
So Hamas was a creation of Iran?
And Israel, and the United States, and Qatar.
And the
Muslim Brotherhood. No, I think that's facts.
I thought we discussed this, and it was Netanyahu that created it specifically.
Well, Netanyahu,
the Likud party. The Likud party.
Well, they gave money to Qatar, right? Qatar gave the money to Hamas to boost it up and shit like that. Like, as far as I understand, they were like a different type of organization before it. Then they became more militant as time went by, and then they started rivaling the other groups that are like the PLO, right? Other groups are they're rivaling other groups, right? Or government, whatever.
PLO, yeah, to insult what's his name, the leader of Palestine.
Yeah, they keep the PLO out.
They're basically like Hamas, you take Gaza, PLO, you take West Bank. As far as I understand.
So Iran had a hand in that.
I think they, if I had to guess, I don't know. But I think intuition says, which you take at face value, obviously, I would think like after everything that's been happening over there, that they maybe Iran probably gave them something. That's just my guess, though. So
not looking it up right now. Saying that, so probably.
I'm not doing it based on him. I'm doing it based on like,
They did eventually align with them, but created them as.
No, I don't think. No, creation. No. They have like the Muslim Brotherhood and all that shit, right? And the U.S. involvement in regards to that.
We know BB was fine with giving them money. Like that was the video that we saw.
And now they blame Qatar for that, even though they basically gave it to Qatar to give to them, as far as I understand. And then obviously the U.S. has to give the okay for that, and also we fund Israel, and we do business with Qatar. So yeah, we're part of their funding as well. I just wouldn't be surprised if Iran also chipped in after the creation, not the beginning of them, right? Like they're not the daddies of Hamas, I don't think. Hezbollah, right. Yeah, I would say they would be with Hezbollah.
So would we call someone that after creation decides to align with someone their proxy?
Align is different than proxy. Means like you're your representatives in a way, right? So I think it's more like the Houthis, right? Where they've worked together, but the Houthis like, no, they don't own us. We do what we want. Type of shit. Hezbollah, I think, is different, right? They are yes, directly with Iran.
We could definitely call Hezbollah Iran's proxy. They're part of the IRCG. What's it called? The Iranian Defense
Republican Guard thing, whatever the fuck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Proxy sometimes use represent you, but other times it's just that they're acting on your behalf. Like they're doing it because you want it.
Yeah, and I think that's different.
Also proxy.
Yeah, I think that's different than what's happening with Hamas or the Houthis in Yemen. I think it's more of, we see you're getting shit on, we'll help you out. But it's not, by no means like we dictate what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Versus Hezbollah, where they're taking like probably commands, right? From the higher ups in Iran.
Bin Laden was basically a proxy.
Because what he's saying, he's by the words that are coming out of his mouth, he's associating the idea October 23rd, 2007 or 2023 was because Iran.
I mean October 7th?
That's what he's saying. Yeah, that's what he's equivocally saying.
Oh yeah, he is.
Big fat guy.
Yes, that's what Trump was saying about the Houthis. He's saying, Iran, you better pull back your dogs. We're going to blow them up. Right? He's like threatening Iran. And the Houthis like, yo, we do our own business. And they're like, and they just give him the finger. Like, go fuck yourself. Like, we're the ones fucking with you. And then it was proven later on when the U.S. and the Houthis call a ceasefire with each other. Right? Like, all right, let's stop shooting at each other and shit like that. But they were still ramping up against Iran, right? So that means there wasn't, like, they didn't call that an Iranian deal, right? They call it a deal between the U.S. and the Houthis, which is like just them obviously lying out loud. Granted, people don't pick up on that or notice it, but yeah, that like just clear as day at that point. But yeah, that's the talking point. Whatever happens, someone stubs their fucking toes in the Middle East. Iran did it. That's been a thing. And to me, just a dishonest argument. But all right, here we go.
By the Islamic Republic of Iran. For more than 20 years, Bashar al-Assad was a client who depended upon the Shiite clergy in Iran to certify that the Alawites were bona fide Muslims so that he could stay in power in Syria. He was totally beholden as a result to the Iranian regime. He was a client of the Iranian regime. And, you also say, well...
Interesting, because what I heard, because he's tying it to the most recent shit, right? But it's like, wasn't Iran like, yo, we're still ready to go when it came to Syria? But Bashar al-Assad was like, nah, I'm done. I'm out of here. We gotta go. I gotta go. We're stepping down. Basically, it's over. Iran was like, no, Hezbollah and Iran were like, yo, we're ready to go. Like, we'll fight. We'll fight with you. If you keep fighting, we'll fight with you. How come Bashar al-Assad had the fucking say in that discussion? Why wasn't it just an order from Iran then? I think he's talking about older events that I'm more ignorant of, but as far as most recently, with Syria, they were not owned by Iran. They were partners with them, just like they were partners with Russia and other countries. And groups within it. They even partnered with the Kurds somewhat there. So, whatever. I'm used to lying liars, so here we go.
The IAEA said that they're not getting nuclear weapons. As a matter of fact, in a May 31st, 2025 report, which is almost 3 weeks ago. Oh, this must be outdated. Iran has significantly increased production and accumulation of highly enriched uranium, the only non-nuclear weapon state to produce such nuclear material. This is a matter of serious concern. And the IAEA also...
Except for Israel. He said non-nuclear state, right? As far as we understand, right? Technically, Israel's not a nuclear state, right? But if they have weapons that this guy hasn't denied, and these two don't make him answer that fucking question, like really dig into that question, everyone thinks they have a secret fucking nuclear program, so they did enrich to levels of nuclear bomb status shit. Without any type of agreements, contracts, discussions. It's just an open secret. But they should have made him answer that to where now he can't say this point, right? If you took that away earlier, now he wouldn't be able to say it right now. This shit right now. Iran's the only state doing this. You would steal that point away from him. But anyways, here we go.
Accumulation of highly enriched uranium, the only non-nuclear weapon state to produce such nuclear material. This is a matter of serious concern. And the IAEA also said that they've accumulated 881 pounds of uranium enriched to 60%, which far exceeds what is needed for civilian energy production and is close to weapons-grade material. So you've got...
Yeah, I don't know. Go read, and now read the conclusion. Now read the conclusion of the latest report. Read it. Read the whole thing. You want to read it right now on the air? Let's read the conclusion.
The conclusion takes back that they're enriching uranium at 60%? Come on.
No. See, this is how they're selling this lie, Matt.
This should be, once again, the aha moment. Okay, you're full of shit. What would be if you actually honestly believed in the position that you're taking, this fucking dweeb, Robert Spencer, whatever, this fucking dweeb guy, if he was just doing it honestly, he was just speaking for I've seen the information, this is what I believe out of it. If he was honest, he'd be like, oh, no problem, I'll read the rest of it. But instead, he's trying to cloak and dagger this shit, trying to cover that up, apparently. Anyways, see how simple that is? Like, yo, can you finish reading that? I think there's more there. Can you finish reading that? See how simple, dumb guy fucking questions wrecks these motherfuckers. Like, what? All of a sudden, papers start flying. Oh, shit, I think there's an earthquake happening. I gotta get out of here. There we go.
At 60%? Come on.
No. See, this is how they're selling this lie, Matt. Yes, nobody's arguing that they're enriching at 60%. They've gone up to the level of having a latent nuclear deterrent. They are not the first country who's ever done this. And yes, that is true. It is higher than what they need for their civilian energy needs. And
well, do you believe, Dave? Do you believe that enrichment to that degree ought to be deterred?
Why is he spending all this time on repeating back what the guy already fucking said, Dave? Just fucking repeat it again until he fucking reads. Like, yo, finish reading that. Like, read the conclusion of that. Like, no, I'm not answering another fucking question. That guy finishes reading that shit. Like, read the conclusion.
What's he gonna say?
I don't fucking know.
I'm not familiar.
The point is, you make him read the fucking thing.
Oh, good.
It's probably something to do with there's no prospects of them. Like, they're not. It's more of a deterrent, like Dave was saying, more of a deterrent than a actual. We're trying to just make a nuke because we love nukes so much. We've had all this time to fucking do it. We just didn't do it. We were just like, oh fuck, we were lazy, right? We're like, oh, we're lazy. Come on.
I don't get how other countries get to decide who gets nukes. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Leave it at that. Like, there's 7 countries with nukes, 8 countries, whatever the number is. Well, then how'd they get it if there's a rule against countries that get nukes?
They got in early and got their nukes all set up, and then the treaties were signed, and now you got to go. Now you got to jump through hoops if you want to get a nuke.
They call dibs.
We have to follow. One country has to follow other countries' treaty.
They call shotgun. They call shotgun, so they got it.
Iran signed on to it.
International law. Yeah.
International law.
Okay.
Iran signed on to it though, right?
That's hilarious.
Okay. Imagine they did. Why do they have to follow through with the treaty? We break treaties all the time.
I mean, in the world of human beings, you don't have to follow any rules or laws or anything like that. You can just do whatever. Now, there's like the point of why they wouldn't is because of the repercussions, but I guess they're slow-brained, and I don't think they're that dumb. They have to realize that it doesn't matter if they have nukes or not, or are attempting to have nukes or not. It didn't matter. These guys were we're trying to fucking take you over. We don't like your leadership. We can't do business with you guys. We want to do business with our own hand-picked criminals. So we need you guys out of there.
Another way of looking at this is there's on Earth 215 nations or something. The UN only recognizes 198. So that means 17 are not recognized.
Okay.
How do you not recognize a country unless you choose not to recognize the country? So why do they have to choose to recognize any kind of rules?
They are a recognized country at the UN.
No, I'm not talking about them. I'm saying the idea is there's no rule you have to be part of listening to the world if you are your own country.
You mean sovereignty?
Yeah, but in their mind,
or they're their own.
Yeah,
they're their own thing.
Well, in their minds, though, they were thinking like, "Oh, if we just go along with the rules, we'll be cool. They'll leave us alone." And then Trump came into office. Is like, "Nope, we're pulling out of this treaty. We're pulling out of this."
So they're no longer bound by the treaty.
No, they stayed bound by it for a while because they wanted to show the other countries, like, "Yo, we're not trying to make nukes. We're not trying to make nukes. We'll allow you to look over our ship."
They don't have a treaty in place that says they have to follow any rules regarding nukes.
I think they stayed in it at that time period. Once again, U.S. is not the only dictator.
How do you stay in it? Oh, you're saying other countries are still signed on to this treaty.
I think Russia was observing. I think European nations were observing still. IAEA, like the organization, was observing. I think for a while after Trump pulled out.
So we pulled out of a treaty. Yeah. So therefore, it is us. That's basically saying, treaty means nothing. We can do whatever we want. Okay.
Well, they officially left the treaty. Thus, they're not held by the treaty anymore. And they're like, okay, we're gonna go back to fucking sanctioning the fuck out of Iran, and basically trying to force them to start enriching at higher levels. Like that was, I think, the whole U.S.'s plan behind it was force them and subvert them to get them to start enriching, and then we could be like, see, look, they wanted nukes the whole time. Thank God we showed you guys. It was literally that shit that James makes fun of you for, Dubster, that QAnon bullshit, where he's like, yeah, it's like Trump gets caught like raping a child, like, oh, he's just doing that to expose child trafficking. Child sexual abuse. He's just trying to expose it. So he had to go to like a secret club and sleep with children. Like literally the same logic.
Remember that being discussed by James.
He just wants to expose him, man.
I mean, I don't put it past James to think like that.
He handed a school shooter a grenade just to showcase. See, look, they're school shooters. See? I figured it out. Oh, fuck. Just dumb on dumb. And, well, let's be real. People fell for it, and they fell asleep. And now we're here. Here we go.
That is true. It is higher than what they need for their civilian energy need. And
well, do you believe, Dave? Do you believe that enrichment to that degree ought to be deterred or allowed?
Listen, I think again,
you're pulling the topic away.
I don't like the spread of nuclear weapons at all, and I don't. Should they be deterred? I think there would be a great way to deter them by making a deal. I think that would be very possible. I think
Dave allowing himself to get distracted again, just like he did with Douglas Murray. But Douglas Murray was just way more conniving about it, so it just seemed a lot more obvious. But here, once again, I'm not even saying Matt Gaetz is at fault here. He probably just has scheduled questions he wants to ask. But it's like you're pulling away from the points that would wreck this fool. You just asked him, like, oh, read the rest of that. You just asked him that, and he's not doing it, which means you lost out on that point now. What?
I bet Douglas Murray is a homosexual.
I think he actually is, guy.
He's gotta be. He's British.
He is.
Whatever. Who cares?
But that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like,
those are two vital. Like, it's like, come on, dude. Like, Dave, you could have asked. You even let him hop, skip away from the Israel having nukes thing. Like, come on. Like, you could make such a strong case for Israel actually being the threat in the Middle East, and you let them have nuclear weapons. So it's like hypocritical. On its face, hypocritical. You let a nuclear-powered country be an aggressor against a non-nuclear powered country that the U.S. is also sanctioning over the top and funding groups underneath. It's like, come on. Why are you letting him get away with run away from those? I would not allow that shit. But answer that fucking question, my man, or we're going nowhere. Anyways.
I think the Iranians have demonstrated that they want to make a deal. Donald Trump seemed to be signaling he wanted to make a deal. It's kind of unclear now what his true intent was. But then they threw in
sounds like bullshit
the idea that you have to get rid of all your centrifuges and all your uranium, and the Iranians weren't going to go along with that. And so, yeah, I think a reasonable deal could be struck here where Iran doesn't get nuclear weapons. But even if they had them, that doesn't mean we should launch a regime change war there now. This is just madness. There's no concrete plan. You have no plan for who the new leader is going to be. You have no plan how to avoid it.
We're going to get to that. We're going
to Dave, you could force them to admit the reason why they're enriching you guys, the U.S. has been pushing that, it's subverting them and pushing them towards that shit. Come on, dude. How are you I don't know, man. I don't know. What was that thing that Scott Horton said, which I think is just absolutely on point? Fuck, I forgot what he said, but if it comes to me, I'll say it. Here we go.
I'm gonna get to that, but I want to stay on the nuclear development real quick. Robert, you said in your opening statement, I wrote down the words precisely, that Iran was working on nuclear weapons, and that struck me as a broad statement. So I want to pin this down. How close does a country have to be, a hostile country, to nuclear weapons and their ambitions or their hopes or their works, to justify a regime change war?
Well, look. Ali Akbar Hashemi Rafsanjani, president of Iran from 1989 to 1997. December 2001, he says that if a day comes when the world of Islam is duly equipped with the arms that Israel has in possession,
so he's not going to answer
which
that
of course
question.
He was referring to a nuke, then the application of an atomic bomb would not leave anything in Israel, but the same thing would just produce damages in the Muslim world. So Rafsanjani was saying we can destroy Israel completely, and retaliatory fire would only harm us to a certain extent, but not completely. So
he brought up the Israel. He brought up the Israel has nukes thing again. He also didn't answer the question. It's see, now he's using the points again. Fuck. Anyways,
how close do we have to be?
Hold on. Go ahead.
I think the question was important because, he also has to clarify, what do you believe? How close are they? Do you have more information than the public does, or are you just saying things? They just keep it vague.
Yeah.
To justify attacking.
And I'll be real right now. Once again, I'm not even saying Matt Gaetz is being full of shit, but some of his questions seem leaning in a direction here, because he had to throw in the idea of okay. It's not just someone having a nuke, it's someone who's hostile. Meanwhile, Dave.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Okay.
Dave could have been going over, like, why might they be hostile? Let's go over why they might be hostile towards Western nations or Israel or whatever. Could they have reasons? Like, I wouldn't say like, I'd be like, oh, I don't agree with this, but you do understand why they might be behaving like this. Okay, are we here to have like a real conversation, guys, or is this like for fun? Is this another exercise, another therapy session, so that people feel good, booing the bad guy, the heel? Like, yeah, Dave, you totally crushed him, bro.
So hostile being the key word. Pakistan nukes. They've been hostile to Israel with the promise to nuke them since the 70s, but yet we're not talking about regime changing Pakistan.
Yep.
The problem with religious fanaticism, the fanatics don't care if they live or die. So Iran is basically a cult at this point.
Wait,
right.
so
Iran.
How did you go from religious fanaticism to just Iran?
And
are they the only religious entity in this?
Right, Israel's religious fanaticism.
Theocracy, bro.
Huh?
Yeah, but they're secular Jews, bro. Most of them are secular Jews. They pretty much told all the religious Jews to shut the hell up in Israel.
Secular means you worship the devil.
Fanaticism, once again, the words you're using here, not applying it.
It means you worldly. It doesn't mean you worship the devil, idiot.
So
yes, it does. It means absence of God.
Don't get stuck in this argument. I'd rather hear about the topic, please. God.
Go
ahead. One of you. No one? Okay.
Jesse, you were saying something.
I was just responding to like the whole like you go from religious fanatics or religious extremists to Iran. That's the only layer here, and you try to justify that Israel is not, but the fact that they're preemptively missiling
Israel is run by secular Jews, like I was saying.
Yeah.
The really religious Jews have been shut down over there. They're not allowed to talk.
Well,
what?
Okay.
Excuse me? That's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong.
They're not allowed to have. They're not allowed to have a place in politics over there. Is what I'm saying. The Zionist movement is run by secular Jews.
He missed the settlers with Louis Theroux, and that was a minor event. That was minor.
The fact of the amount of violence that is being, inflicted on behalf of that state, I would consider them extremist. I don't care why they're doing it. Like, they're just constantly killing people, and including innocent civilians. I cannot not call that extremist.
And if you want to go into let's look at it. If you want to call Iran hostile, right? You'd have to say Israel is too. Just by evidence, you have to say the U.S. is hostile. You'd have to say the U.K. is hostile. You'd have to you can go down the fucking list. As far as outputting quote unquote terrorism, Saudi Arabia is known for being one of the big ones doing that. But guess what? We like those gangsters over there. So you know what? We give them weapons. Iran was fighting Al-Qaeda and ISIS in all these territories, by the way. In Syria, in Iraq.
Oh, the ISIS.
They were fighting those groups.
The Syria ISIS. That's our peeps, right?
I mean, yeah. The new president had to change his name and clothes. Had to put a suit on, get rid of the AK, and now he's official. Come on. The standards are just bullshit on its face. It's bullshit on its face. And it's damn, man. It feels like, once again, it's not even the, mock down. I'm just saying, let's say I was there arguing against this guy and Matt Gaetz was the fucking host or whatever. It feels like I'd have to go over a fucking history lesson for both these fucking idiots. Seriously. Is Matt Gaetz going to let someone go up there and say, well, the U.S. was funding Al-Qaeda? Would he allow that to happen? Would Matt Gaetz cut me off? I think he would. I think he is, quote unquote, America first, which means lie on behalf of your country. Lie for them. because I have fans to deal with and future jobs I want. Mm-hmm. So he would lie. I think he would lie. That's where I'm smelling things going here. But all right, let's hear this. The dweeb answer the question. Well, he's gonna do a history lesson first, I guess, right? Here we go.
Israel, but the same thing would just produce damages in the Muslim world. So Rafsanjani was saying we can destroy Israel completely, and retaliatory fire would only harm us to a certain extent, but not completely. So he was obviously thinking about an aggressive war of destruction of Israel. As Khamenei said on May 17th, a month ago, the Zionist regime, which is the dangerous and lethal cancerous tumor of this region, must undoubtedly be removed, and it will be. This cancerous tumor language is a recurring theme in Iranian rhetoric. It goes back to Khomeini.
So is that rhetoric sufficient? Are you taking the position in this debate that one's rhetoric can rise to a point around destruction and nuclear annihilation to justify a regime change war, or do there have to be other actions that bring you there?
There have to be other actions, and there are. We have the enrichment of uranium beyond the need for, but beyond what is needed for civilian purposes. So you already
have
that.
Hold out of the deal, you
Once
dummy.
Once a country starts enriching uranium beyond civilian purposes, if they're a hostile country, that justifies regime change?
Well,
that would all work on Israel. Every little thing you just said right there. It'd work on the U.S. too.
Work on South Africa too, right? Don't they have nukes?
Do they? I don't know.
Shouldn't. I think they are one of the ones that have a secret nukes.
God. There'd be so much invasions.
Do you think Matt Gaetz would say that? Like, well, then we should regime change Israel? That'd be wild.
You guys want to know secret?
He's making the argument for it.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering, he's setting it up, right? Like he's structuring his questions.
What do you think would happen if all the Jews in Israel just packed their bags and left the country and never came back?
They come in here.
And gave it to the Palestinians. What do you think would happen? I'll tell you what would happen. The Shiites would fight the Sunnis. The Shiites would fight the Sunnis because they think they're both apostates to each other. And they would be fighting. It would be worse. It would be worse without Jews in Israel. Trust me.
Do you think we're saying that we want the Jews to pack up and leave Israel? Is that what anybody has said? Okay.
But I don't want them.
Nobody's saying that. But the
are saying that. But okay, do you think that's what we want?
I want them to go to the middle of the desert. That's where they get to be.
Forget about that. There's a difference between leaders lifted out and then it's chaos, right? Power vacuums all over the place versus actually getting signed, set deals for everything. Here's a country. Here's the borders of your country. Here's, you can't have these guys as your military. Otherwise, we can't allow you to be a country. Like on and on and so forth. And there is a way to do that. They shouldn't expel Jewish people from fucking Israel. That shouldn't happen. They should actually come to a two-state solution. Hamas said, we want a two-state solution. We'll actually disband. We will actually take our guns and get rid of them. Literally their words. Now, they could be lying, but fuck it, hold them to it. Why break the ceasefire before you have a chance to find out if that's the case? Let's just be honest. Israel, the U.S., we're never going to allow that to be the case. If Hamas dropped their guns right now and dropped them at the border and say, all right, we're done fighting, bro. We're done. I still think there's going to be bombs and all. Like, there's still Hamas people. They're lying to us. There's weapons somewhere over there. Let's bomb and find out. Like, that's the level of stupid we're at right now. Apparently, Harrison has jumped on that stupid train. Sounds like it, at least. Anyways, let's continue.
Well, Matt, that you didn't get my whole statement because I didn't say we should go in. We should enable Israel in any way that they need. And if a regime change happens, we should support it. The Crown Prince, this is a very different situation from Iraq and Afghanistan. In Afghanistan, it was...
You're right. It's Syria. It's his idea of what he's saying right there is Syria.
Libya. No, it's Libya.
Or Libya. Syria's kind of same thing. Pretty similar.
We should encourage regime change so that they go ahead and kill them themselves.
Yeah, by bombing over the top, but funding the guys underneath. That's Syria. That's Libya. That's what they're trying to do. They're openly saying it. When we heard like the Mark Levin guy or some of these people arguing in favor of regime change, they're saying it out loud. Like, oh no, we don't want to kill the Iranians. We want to free them. And what do they mean by free? Get the gangsters they want underneath there. Bring that fucking king back in or whatever the fuck. The fucking Shah's fucking little kid. Send him in there. He'll be the new leader. He'll be the new leader. Boom. Syria. Boom.
And then the Iranian ladies will be able to show some skin again. I'm all for that, baby.
They already can. Whatever. Not everyone in Iran is hyper religious.
No, they're dressed up like ninjas. Trust me.
Yeah, they are.
No, not all of them.
Yes, all of them.
Maybe the state-based people, but no, not everyone.
No. They get killed if they're not wearing the hijab thing.
Really? So when you see videos of people not in that shit,
then it's not Iran.
Okay, it's somewhere else. Got it.
Might be able to get away with it, like if they're diplomats or something, but no, women over there, they got to dress like ninjas.
Fuck. Maybe you're right, but something tells me I think you're wrong. But I'll look into that. All right, here we go.
Was a total mess from the beginning. It was wrongly conceived, wrongly executed, wrongly concluded. I wrote a book about it. Who Lost Afghanistan? In Iran, it's a very different situation because you've got people who remember growing up in a secular Western-style republic. They remember life outside an Islamic regime.
Secular is not republic.
I was 17 when the Islamic Revolution happened. There are plenty of people who are my age in Iran and who have told their kids about what life was like before the Islamic Revolution. And these people have a leader. The Crown Prince is ready. He is offered to come in and be a caretaker ruler and establish a constitutional republic or whatever the Iranian people decide. There was nobody like that in Iran.
What do you think the odds are of a constitutional republic emerging in Iran? Do you think they're better than 50%, Robert?
What was that?
Yeah, and I'll go to Dave with the same question. We're going to ask this question. What do you think the percentage chance is that a constitutional republic emerges out of regime change in Iran? Give a number percentage to that, Robert.
Probably 30 or 40, because...
Well, I want Dave's response, too. You laid out the argument. Dave Smith?
We've got just the opposite situation from Saddam Hussein and the toppling of Saddam, because Saddam was already a secular ruler. And there were a lot of people who thought he is not legitimate because he doesn't rule by Islamic law.
Oh my God,
and when he was toppled, then they saw their chance and they established ISIS and implemented Islamic law in the Sunni region.
We're not secular in America.
In Iran, it's just the opposite.
England is.
Did you know that there was a survey a couple years ago of the Iranian people who were supposed to be 99%?
You mean what you wanted
to do? We're going to hold on. We're going to get to where the Iranian people
by the definition of secular.
Hold on.
America is not secular, but England is.
Do you think the country behaves in a way that is any type of these ideas that you might want or whatever? Does it behave like it's whatever the fuck you're about to call it? Republic, secular, whatever. Does it behave like that?
Yes.
Oh, fuck. Anyways.
But before we get to the Iranian people, I want to get to this notion of what the government looks like. You've presented this concept that there is a crown prince ready to come in and rule the country, and you say 30-40% that would go well. Dave Smith, I'm guessing you don't agree.
Some guy who doesn't live in fucking Iran,
look, bro. Let me just say, I just want to respond to a couple things there, and then I will answer that.
This guy you don't know is your new leader, young people.
First of all, again, just going to this, like, the idea that you're even going to say the chance or the rhetoric. I mean, how many American politicians have said like the craziest things, including John McCain and Hillary Clinton talking about wiping Iran off the face of the map herself, right? I forget her exact words, but it was something like that. John McCain constantly saying it. Donald Trump in tweets and in all types of bravado talk has made all types of comments about violence like you've never seen before, but nobody takes that as a serious policy. Like we really just, you know what I'm saying? Like nobody takes that as a serious policy until the other night when he tweeted for everyone to evacuate Tehran. Now
it's extremely attached to the policy for sure. It's called propaganda. It's called, narrative management. it's directly attacked. Maybe it's not quote unquote policy exactly, but like it's big brother, little brother, essentially. Am I tripping on that?
Selling point. Definitely a selling point.
You can't even have the policy without selling it first, right? You got to sell it.
For us to buy into war, we have to tell our people, well, we're going to free them and give them democracy.
Yeah. But it's the same thing. When Obama gets on the microphone, he's like, my fellow Americans, we need to bring some freedom to the rest of the world. See, people are struggling out there. Folks are struggling, and we need to go help them out. And then Trump comes in. Then Trump comes in and he's like, all right, we're going to bomb the shit out of him. Bomb the fucking shit out of him. They're both saying the same thing. They're saying the same thing. Just, it looks different because of the characters being played. But they're saying do the same exact foreign policy action.
Trump shows videos of us bombing. It's like literally.
Yeah. You can't say that, Jesse. It's fake news according to Google and YouTube.
Oh.
Yeah. One of my videos got blocked for saying that, so
no way.
I can't say that anymore.
Okay.
I can't.
Okay.
I can't say.
I don't know what to say to that.
Well,
I don't know what to say.
I can't say that Donald Trump bombed a group of civilians and had the videotape posted on Twitter for everyone to see and say, "Look what the fuck I did! Look what I did!" As he's blatantly killing innocent people. I can't say that anymore because that would be a falsehood. Go ahead, Dubster.
If we give Iran democracy and they vote to make a nuke, what happens then?
Say that again. Sorry.
If we force Iran to become a democracy and the people vote to make a nuke, what happens then?
And as long as the gangster that the U.S. and Israel and all these other fucking gangsters want, as long as the leader there is the one they want there, I would assume like at some point that might happen. Like, yeah.
Okay. So let's say they vote him out first, then they vote to make a nuke. And then what happens?
Yeah, so
they'll wait until Americans free.
No, we're not looking for freedom of others. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah.
We're looking for cooperative leaders to sell out their countries for us.
Yeah.
And then we're good. If they're not cooperating, they don't give us good deals. They need more freedom.
Yeah. I mean, actually, they wouldn't. Whatever gangster goes into charge probably wouldn't even develop nukes just because. But let's say hypothetically that the people want it. Like, yeah, let's do it. Let's get a nuke, guys. Something tells me they'd have to like wait some years till the dopey American forgets, and then they'll fucking all of a sudden have nukes. Like, hey guys, wasn't there like a time period where this was like a big deal? Then we'll have little dweebs going on fucking futuristic YouTube channels and, hey, look, those were bad guys back then. We're good guys now. So you know what? Maybe they should have some nukes.
Even the Shah was a monarchy. It wasn't an elected leader.
Yeah. And it was just one after the other taking over, right? Son replacing father.
I mean, that was our people. That was who we wanted. It wasn't freedom for them.
Yeah, the U.S. installed the first Shah, right? In the 50s or some shit.
Then the second Shah took power, and that's when they had the revolution, I think.
In the 70s, right? 79 or something like that.
Yeah, they did not like the second. No, the 50s. Something happened. I think we did force democracy on them for like 2 years.
Maybe. Well, for optics.
We got to look at the timeline again.
Well, I'm saying in the 50s,
there was Shaw 1, there was Shaw 2, and then something happened. Meanwhile, Shaw 3 was born and then was instantly in exile.
And they had
at the same time.
Yeah.
Mommy or whatever took power in the 70s.
Yeah. They had Mossadegh or whatever the fuck his name is. They had that guy in, and then they overthrew him and put the Shah in. And then I would assume, just because, once again, half the game's psychological for the way creepy politicians move around. So they're probably, keep it chill, keep it like the rules kind of very similar to the way it was, like kind of ease into being tyrannical. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. And then people are like, fuck you, we're overthrowing this motherfucker. But,
and if anybody's thinking before Shah won, that was the Ottoman Empire time. So we made the Shah. I know that part.
Yeah.
But
so before Shah won,
World War I split up.
They nationalized Iran's
resources.
Oil.
Yeah.
And that is why they needed freedom. Yeah, that's why we hope the coup.
According to John Perkins, yeah. All right, let's keep going.
It's like a real type threat. But for us to even be talking about like they holler this or they chant that is just completely beside the point. Again, this is weapons of mass destruction all over again. All the intelligence says they don't have a bomb. That our own CIA said that since 2007, they've made the political decision not to acquire a bomb. We just got that reaffirmed with more intelligence last week. There was another report that said the same thing. So that's number one. After this,
some claims are religious
too. I don't know, by the way, exactly what the percentage would be. My gut instinct is it's much, much lower than that. And I do find it to be such an unbelievable insult. I just can't even believe we're having this debate, that we start the terror war to get Al-Qaeda, and then it turns into spread democracy. And at this point in it, Matt, 25 years later, you understand, we got to support the Al-Qaeda guy who just took over Syria, and now we got to spread monarchy to Iran. It's just such an insult to the intelligence of the American people. But I will say this.
Make them answer that, Dave.
I'll maybe meet you in the middle here, and I think maybe we can have some agreement on this area. I will.
Dave, stay on. Explain what's going on. Have him explain it to you. You say that statement right there, what he just said, but then be like, okay, if I'm wrong about what happened in Syria, please explain differently, in detail. And Matt Gaetz, don't save this fool. Make him answer that shit on his own. But something tells me Dave's gonna he just wanted to shout out a point and then move on and then go back to their points, I guess.
Yeah, too much lecture, not enough. Pull it out of the guy.
Forget about winning a debate, bro. You want to showcase that some motherfuckers are full of shit. They're not here arguing honestly. Once that's seen, it's won already, but it's the greater point is there's motherfuckers willing to just lie to me like this. Not just you have a theory of it or you hear, conspiracy theories about it. You have a direct, blatant example of this motherfucker's full of shit. It's almost just like the Douglas Murray one where people walked away and say, man, he's so arrogant. Instead of yo, this guy's full of shit. There's less people saying that guy was full of shit than there were people saying, oh, he's so arrogant and pompous. Dude, what the hell, man? I thought the point, I walked away with that thing saying oh, Dave saw the devil. He's like, wait a minute. You can't even go here? The propaganda, you have to propagandize so strongly that you won't even let me say this word. That should be so telling. No, Douglas, he was just being arrogant. He believes everything he's saying. He's not lying on behalf of a government or a policy group or some guy with horns and shit. He's just trying to win a debate. That's his only thing. He's just arrogant. He just wants to win. He wants to show you how much smarter he is than you are. Bullshit. Bullshit. If he wanted to just win a debate, he would just roll Dave by just being on the right side of history. Pretty simple. Anyways, here we go.
I'll maybe meet you in the middle here, and I think maybe we can have some agreement on this.
And you can just ignore all the points I make.
I will grant you that perhaps it is true what you're saying, and some of the other hawks say as well, that Iran is a better candidate for regime change. Perhaps the odds are a little higher that it would work out than it would in Iraq. I'd probably put the odds at say 1% in Iraq and 5% here, but whatever. Let's say the odds are higher. The flip side to that is that Iran is also tougher. This is a country 3 times the size of Iraq. This is a government who has maintained power and
why are we going this
control over their country.
I heard this part already, but
why economy. They have a much more sophisticated military. They have an ability. Look, even what we've just seen in Israel already. See, we're used to picking on real puny third world countries. So
Dave needs to recognize the argument he's in. The dude he's arguing against is saying this hostile, crazy, jihadist country, if they get a nuke, they're going to blow the world up. That's his argument. Your argument is, well, if we go to war with them, it'll be bad. Like, yeah, it'll be bad, but it'll be worse with the nuke. That's the other guy's point. Why are you... No, like, you have to dismiss this idea that Iran is just this immediate threat like this to destroy the world. In fact, you don't even need to do that. All you need to show is that this guy's fucking full of shit. Thus, let's get someone who actually is not full of shit, that actually believes that Iran is this, threat to the world type of shit. Let's find someone honest first. Then let's have like an information debate. Right now, Dave hasn't showcased that this guy's full of shit yet. I see it. When he asked him, like, yo, what was the conclusion to the rest of that paper? He's like, 60% enrichment. Right? He just ignored it. Yo, Israel has nukes. What's up with that? What time is it? Okay, yeah. Anyways, Iran is a threat, and they're hostile. Like, it's like just ignoring these things that are supposed to be, like, showcasing to the... Once again, it's not about your fucking vanity, Dave. It's about the audience. You had chances to showcase that guy is full of shit. But you just... Oh, man. Or at the very least, show him that he's been lied to his whole life. One or the other. But, alright, here we go.
We're not used to this, but they just hit Israel back and killed some people there. Now, I don't know how much they have in the tank, but they certainly at least have a little bit more than this, and they can touch perhaps us or
These
Israel.
These guys are evil monsters that want to destroy the world. Yeah, but if we fight them, it'll be bad. And then the other thing
is that if your percentage doesn't work out and one of these maniacs seizes control of the government, and it's a much worse situation than that, you got to consider the potential that
we're
getting dragged into something catastrophic here that's going to cost another $2 trillion and get another 500,000 people killed. And so
isn't the other guy arguing like, yo, it's like Hitler level shit, like they're gonna destroy the world type motherfuckers, right? He's saying that, right? And Dave's response is, but if we fight them, our people will die and their people, like all these people will die. It's like, well, no shit. He's trying.
I see the guy on the right. He is finding how to maneuver because he has an objective. He wants something to happen.
Yeah.
Right? Dave's trying to reason with that. Like,
yep.
It's not going to work. Yep. You won't hear any of it.
He's been around Rogan too much, and he has Rogan brain rot. All right, here we go.
So I don't know. Do you guys, after the last 25 years, not have any sense of concern about this, of taking this risk?
Well, let
me
posit the argument.
Chance, you made it a 40% chance.
Yeah, hold on, Dave. Dave, I want to push back on this because I've heard this argument as well. Well, us striking Iran doesn't really bring us to that level of entanglement and involvement that mirrors Iraq or Afghanistan or even Libya. This can be more akin to the Soleimani strike. A lot of the people I like and listen to, like Rand Paul, were critical of the Soleimani strike, but it didn't drag us into extended conflict with Iran. It reset deterrence and everyone rolled on their way for a few years.
Someone tell Matt Gaetz, like, what are we doing now today? You think, like, these things are planned over periods of time, dude. It's obvious that thing was an event to play towards the events we're seeing now. That's clear as day.
We killed the general. And in the fact that they did not respond was a decision that they made. So
knowing the results of what would happen.
They fired missiles at our bases in Syria. That's how they responded. But Israel just killed 5 generals, Iranian generals, in the last 4 days. So there you go.
Yes, they did.
But that's not what he's saying.
Well, no, hold on. Don't let Harrison get away with
that. You're missing everything Matt Gaetz was saying. Go ahead, though.
Harrison, yeah, they responded with, let's be real, relatively speaking, tacit response, like very tepid responses. That was not, let's go to war bombs. Those were, they had bases way closer to them that they could have fucking destroyed. I mean, we're seeing now the arsenal they have, right? Right now, today, we're seeing their arsenal they have, right? That wasn't that long ago. So they could have fucked up America. They could have fucked up those guys.
They didn't just start shooting them. Like, they called it in, saying, we're about to bomb you guys, like, so you clear out, right? Like,
yeah.
Which is basically, we have to save face, because if we don't, we're going to lose your country, right? Because you can't just take a slap, lose your general, and not say anything. So they basically did a symbolic response.
And I think the most that happened was like concussions. I think
with a heads up, with a notice,
with a heads up.
This is what we're going to bomb,
using their shittiest missiles, because they knew what would happen. They knew it'd be super escalation.
War. Yes.
Now, what am I missing from Matt Gaetz here, Dubster?
What he just said was, well, we attacked the General Soleimani, but he's equating that to, that was no big deal. We kind of moved on from.
We didn't, though.
We're about to attack. No, as in Iran moved on, they didn't respond. But we're about to attack the country in its entirety over this, and it's gonna be just like when we attacked the general, no response.
No, I understand that he's I think he's gonna ask Dave this question, right? And he said, like, well, that one got no response, so why can't this one get no response? But I'm like, that wasn't a no response scenario.
Right, it was. They shot on our bases.
But forget about that. I'm talking about geopolitically. These events all lead to certain places, like on purpose, lead to places. The pulling out of the deal led to the bombing of Soleimani, with getting no permission from Congress, no notice to even foreign policy people, like people out what's it called, like foreign policy committees in the Congress. None of these guys fucking knew. It was just him, Bibi, and their like generals and shit. And allegedly, Israel gave them the intel that, oh yeah, he's in Iraq tonight. And Trump's like, yeah, let's just kill him. Let's kill him. You know, want to know why? And they had a talking point, which another thing that led to, like, the Dick Cheney talking point from 2000, whatever the fuck, led directly to that too. These things are not in vacuums. The IED story that Soleimani was responsible for all the IEDs that killed American soldiers, and it's like, no, he fucking wasn't. That's a fucking lie, dude. That's bullshit. And that was the talking point. That was the actual, like, one-to-one talking point that the Trump administration used when they killed Soleimani. And, by the way, there's other Iraqi militant leaders in that car, too, that they killed.
Iraqi?
Yes. He was meeting with them because these guys, I'm telling you right now, these guys, they're like fighting ISIS, Al-Qaeda, all these fucking groups in the area. That's why there was so much praise from all these Middle Eastern countries and people. Now I'm sure he's not
people. They were on our side, right?
I mean, basically. But I'm not looking at the guy as some hero. I'm saying they looked at him as a hero. Right? That was like one of the big statements. Like, oh, this guy's out here fighting ISIS for the most part, and Al-Qaeda and all that shit. And that's the guy they kill?
Well, he's killing our soldiers. ISIS and Al-Qaeda.
But, yeah. Once again, these are not things that are just isolated incidents. They all lead to each other. And when Syria fell and it got replaced with one of our gangsters that we wanted to put in there, that gave Israel the airspace to fly over Iran, dude. Like, these things are not in vacuums. All these events. Like, here's my guess. If Assad was still in power, let's say Assad was in power now and lasted another 10 years, and then he fell. Something tells me Israel would not have attacked Iran yet. But once Syria fell, it's like, damn, now we have their... No, but it's like a concerted effort. Like, we need Syria to go down first so we can control the air, so we have the airspace.
Right.
Which is like one thing leads to another, like a plan.
I showed you that old tank. Pakistan's next. We just got to get rid of Iran first.
And yeah,
and then it'll be Egypt, and it will be Turkey. Saudi Arabia, they're last because they're our allies.
Okay,
for now.
You're saying just kill Arabs, basically, you're saying.
That's kind of what they're saying.
Well, in the Bible, Turkey is one of the ones that are going to bomb Israel.
I think they just want their gangsters in place. Loyal to them gangsters. That's what I think. So that they can build casinos and fucking UFC arenas everywhere. And now they can soak up the money of all these other foreign countries too. And we'll have world peace now, see?
Oh, dude, we gotta watch that whole Ted Cruz Tucker Carlson thing. There are so many like hilarious moments in there.
Maybe. I have times where I just want to laugh at some of these guys, and then there's times where I just want to fucking rip heads off. Pause. This is rip head off I'm feeling right now, because I can't stand liars. I can't stand lying.
We just covered that one clip. There's actually 5 that have gone viral.
Yeah. I saw Ted Cruz was clowning himself, probably for an hour and a half or some shit.
Yeah,
but he's cannon fodder. I think this guy's supposed to be cannon fodder too, but Dave's just like fucking this up and making him look like he's legitimate, bro, or allowing him to like have room to be legitimate. Meanwhile, like Tucker's like, nope, you're gonna get embarrassed today. But don't worry, it's just to get us to be like, oh shit, look at Ted Cruz, little fuck up. Meanwhile, it's like the U.S. government as a whole, like, yeah, we're still going to war though, guys. Like, I don't care if Ted Cruz loses a debate to Tucker fucking Carlson. Like, who cares? I'm just saying. Anyways, all right.
But it is still funny as shit.
Oh yeah, it's still funny, but once again, no offense to other people, but people like us or people who like look into information, we can laugh at those things, but also not take our eye off the ball, right? Other people might watch that and just be like, I feel good now. It feels like we won. Meanwhile, they're still drumming up wars. They're still doing that. There's still a Holocaust happening in your fucking lifetimes. Kid you not. And they're turning the cameras off over there. So you don't see it. So these things are still happening.
I saw another headline that Israel is now going to approve of any videos that get released out of the country.
Oh, yeah. They keep kicking Al Jazeera out or arresting them and shit like that because they're going to get video footage of bombs hitting. And they don't want that. But other things they do want. Maybe where it looks more like a civilian area, right? It looks like apartment buildings and housing, which it probably is, right? They want those images out there. But they don't want the ones where they're hitting like fucking military bases or military buildings and Mossad buildings and shit like that, right? So it's, once again, more bullshit, more propaganda. Par for the course. Here we go.
Do you think, Dave Smith, that there's any validity to the argument that this can be a kind of one and done, go strike some nuclear facilities, fly home, and then hope that it doesn't go beyond that?
Well, I certainly hope so. And I certainly hope Donald Trump, President Trump, comes to his senses and you know what I mean, pulls back from this. I think that hopefully at this point he still could do that. I don't see any signal that that is the case. And I think that we should be honest with ourselves and make no mistake about this, that this is a regime change war already, and that has been Israel's goal here the entire time. They've admitted it in their own words over and over and over again. Netanyahu.
I mean, why would taking out a nuclear site in Iran, why would that stop them from bombing Israel? That wouldn't. That would not stop them. Straight up. They were like, yo, remember that first day? Iran was like, yo, y'all saw it. They hit us first. And now they're going to have to deal with us now.
Right.
Like straight up, like, we're going to fuck you up now. I was like, I always wanted to fuck you up, but, you know, I'm patient. I'm waiting and waiting. All right, they pushed me. I'm hitting them back. And now they're like, fucking dancing over there. Let's fucking shoot the whole fucking place up. Right up. That's what their leadership sounds like. It sounds like, let's go shoot the fucking place up.
Yeah, it's time. It's now.
Yeah. And
we're not trying to replace nobody. We're just shooting our shit.
Which means it would have to expand to, okay, we can't just take out nuclear sites. We have to take out leadership too, because those guys are ordering the missiles to be shot at our super ally. Right? It's just going to ramp up from there. But it'd actually be kind of hilarious if Iran's like, all right, with the world watching, watch this. And they just blow up their last nuclear site. We blew it up. See, it's done. Are you going to stop like shooting at us? Israel would be like, they got a secret one hidden somewhere. Let's keep bombing them. Like if they did that, like prove a point, like, see, look, our nuclear facilities are gone now. What are you going to do now? Your whole excuse is gone.
Donald Trump would instantly hold a press conference and say, fake news. That would be the shortest speech ever.
All right, here we go.
Who has testified before Congress and urged us to go overthrow the government in Iran. This is their goal. They know that they don't have nuclear weapons. This is all the culmination of the clean break strategy. General Wesley Clark told us there were 7 countries they wanted to take out, and this is the 7th one. They're going in to take this country out. Like, I don't know how anybody can even argue with this at this point. And so that's why the argument here is, what are we getting ourselves into, and how risky is another regime change war for a country that poses absolutely no threat to us? This is a country that again, there is no need for us to do this. This is a complete and obvious war of aggression by Israel with American assistance, and a war of choice. We simply don't have to. Look, Benjamin Netanyahu has been telling me since I was 7 years old that Iran is 1 to 3 years away. Hey guys, do you think he got it wrong when he said that for the last 30 plus years? Or was he lying? Or was he lying so that America would go overthrow the government he wants overthrown?
Make that an actual question.
I'd like to get Robert's response to some of those claims by the current prime minister, who had been in and out of Israel's government for quite some time. Let's go ahead and play that clip.
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short
Daly
time. It could be a year. It could be within a few months.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly.
It goes back to 82.
Iran is so dangerous.
It's actually 40 years.
From having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb. Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a decade. Ladies and gentlemen, time is running out.
Iran will be capable of producing alone, without importing anything, nuclear bombs within 3 to 5 years.
At JM Bullion, excellent service and competitive pricing aren't just
goals. What the fuck is this?
They're our standard actions. F5.
We're here with Robert Spencer.
That's actually their ad.
Watch, and Dave Smith, host of Part of the Problem.
They're like, all right, listen, we're going to get copyrighted for playing the Daily Show, so just put an ad in there so you can make some money off this shit. Freedom isn't free.
Problem. So the question to you, Robert, does the Prime Minister have any credibility?
Yeah, absolutely. Because the fact is that it's not just either he's right and obviously he was wrong, or he's lying. There's a third choice. And the third choice revolves around the fact that there have been numerous strange, mysterious
that was already 3 choices
that befell Iranian nuclear scientists, computer foul-ups in Iranian nuclear facilities. A lot of this has been blamed on Mossad. Mossad, of course, has not taken any
this guy is not honest
for it, but it is altogether possible that the Iranian nuclear adventure has been
pause when you're ready
at several points by the Israelis, and that is why the
why not just keep doing that?
Before he answers that, like, well, Iran, they're so fucking stupid that they fucked their own shit up, and then Israel took it as reality, but then they repeated it like 40 more times. Like, they repeated that same mistake 40 more times.
Yeah.
Like, damn, we just keep believing these guys, damn.
This dude said their computer's been malfunctioning for 40 years.
It's like, but if you don't know, if it's been malfunctioning, meaning they were wrong because they got bad intel, wouldn't that mean, like, how does that justify what's happening now? Wouldn't that all that would do would put it more in the question, right? Like, what if you guys are wrong again? What if they're not weeks away from a fucking nuclear bomb or some shit like that? What if you fuck it up again?
Iran fixed their computers last week, bro.
Oh,
it's
okay,
all good now.
Okay, got it. Damn.
We saw them fix them.
Look at Dave's
fix them. You know, it's a big threat, but we weren't going to attack those techs. We weren't going to attack those techs that fixed the computers.
Look at Dave's face. Like, you're having the moment again, Dave.
They updated the Windows 95.
Oh, fuck. So wait. For like several decades, they were just like, yeah, their computers were fucked up. You know, Y2K happened, and you know, their computers got fucked up, so you got bad intel. But why would you repeat that?
Oh, and nobody's ever said this. Yeah, nobody's ever said this until this guy right here.
Oh my god. Did you repeatedly get bad intel for fucking 30, 40 straight fucking years or some shit? Like, what the hell? Like, that's so insulting. That is insulting to everyone's intelligence right there. And Dave should be like, all right, forget about Israel, Iran. I gotta ask you, like, a question. Like, are you full of shit, dude? Are you full of shit? Like, I'd be like, faces. Do you think I'm fucking stupid or something? Are you full of shit, bro?
Both of their faces are kind of saying that.
What in the hell?
Dave is more like calculating, like, and Matt is staring him down like, you're fucking lying.
Let's call this the Dave Smith move, where he's like, all right, let's pretend that's true, and then you just go on with the point. Like, wait a minute, you got him caught in a lie, bro. He's caught lying. He's bullshitting. And you're like, well, let's pretend that's true, and then let's argue from there. I'm like, what are you doing? Fuck that shit. God dang it!
It's like you got him on the ropes and you just let him up.
Netanyahu personally called. Yeah, Netanyahu personally called this dude and said, "Hey, I was right, but their computer broke." So it's gonna be probably another 2 years before I put this message out again, saying they're 2 years away, and then 2 months away, and their computer keeps breaking. I'm just letting you know, you're the one person I'm ever gonna tell anybody about their broken computers.
It's like, this guy didn't even think about it. Like, he's just like, yes. Like, immediately after the question was asked, like, oh, you're prepared to answer for all this shit. Got it. No matter what.
Yeah, that's the thing. He did think about this. Like, he actually prepared that answer. He had that ready.
And it's like the most bullshit sounding thing ever. It's like, yo, if you push them on a couple other of these points, like, make them answer the questions, it's gonna sound just as stupid, if I had to guess. But all right, here we go. Dave's furling eyebrows. Here we go.
Instead of a regime change war, why don't we just keep doing those things? Those sound great.
That would be great. If it can be handled that way, then I'm all for it.
I don't understand.
Straw men, because I'm not talking about both boots
on the ground.
Some
Dude,
sort
this
of.
is.
Yeah, it's a straw man to say.
Okay, this is the most dishonest. This
to Iran, because that is not what I'm arguing.
Go for it, Dave.
There is no reason.
Yes, no, I'm not saying.
Hold on, Dave.
Sorry. Stop him, Dave. Like, no.
Clarify your argument, Robert. You're saying that you're not advocating the position that we ought to deploy troops to the streets of Tehran today.
No, go back.
Are you sensitive to the argument?
Dave doesn't forget.
Involvement in
Douglas Murray, he brought it back way after. You don't forget.
Mangled, killed, that began with 40 military advisors. Do you worry about America's history of slow walking or sleepwalking into some of these wars?
Yeah, except for one thing, and that is that Trump is aware of this.
We're off it already.
Trump, for all the rhetoric that's been going on the last few days, is not George W. Bush.
No, we're not.
Lessons have been learned from Iraq and Afghanistan. Remember his devastating exchange with Jeb Bush back in 2015, I guess it was. And the fact is that Trump has been consistent all through these years of saying he's not going to allow Iran to get nukes, while at the same time
No one's accepted that premise yet,
excoriating the Bush administration and Obama as well for engaging in this pointless and fruitless mission creep and nation building. And so why is it impossible to believe that he intends to take out Iran's nuclear program, or is willing to do so if it comes to that? But that does not mean that he's going to go in with some Bushian adventure and try to give democracy to the Iranians.
Well, Robert, how do we stop it?
They're more likely to Syria.
Okay.
Let's be honest, right? They're more likely to fund groups in the country to overthrow it, rather than U.S. troops doing it. And they'll provide airspace bombings while that's all happening. Or Israel will, sorry. Not us, but our little brother will. Good?
That wasn't the point that was all about. It was, he said it was possible. Yeah, sure, fucking anything's fucking possible. The whole idea with citing Netanyahu's videos was saying, where's the fucking proof?
Yeah. And then he made this stupid point about broken computers and shit like that. And then Dave's about to respond to it, and that Gaetz cuts him like, no, sorry, Dave. Hold on, let me ask this question. And it just goes somewhere else. And I don't think Dave's going back to it.
That was the most dishonest thing. I think he will. But he was trying to say that was the most dishonest argument I've ever fucking heard.
All right. It's like you're caught in bed with some chick and your wife walks in and you're like, oh, fuck. That's not my wife. Who is this? I thought it was you the whole time, honey. Like, come on, dude. Like, I'm not that stupid.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Fuck, I thought it was you, honey. Like, I'm black, she's white. I thought you were doing like a skin thing, like skin therapy thing that you're doing, or it's like, get the fuck out of my house, fucking liar. All right, here we go.
Israel from a decapitation campaign
if
we're
straight up said he's dishonest.
Nuclear facilities.
What's that?
You gotta repeat that. Dave straight up said he's dishonest. So
he didn't say it yet. He didn't say it yet.
No, he said the word dishonest. I think he was talking about the argument, but yeah.
Oh yeah. But he didn't say it yet. He didn't really say it yet till he says it, right? Till he like fully explains what he's saying. But here we go.
To that, but that does not mean that he's going to go in with some Bushian adventure and try to give democracy to the Iranians.
Well, Robert, how do we stop Israel from a decapitation campaign if we're bombing nuclear facilities? What's the leverage we have over them at that point?
Well, okay, if Israel undertakes a decapitation campaign, you've also got to reckon with the possibility that the Iranian people might undertake a decapitation campaign. You know that it was several years ago now, as a matter of fact, a full soccer stadium, it's like 50, 70,000 people in Iran was chanting, "Long live Reza Shah," who was the father of the deposed Shah of Iran. He was the Shah in the 1930s. And
it's like, well, what if Israel doesn't, like, if the whole point is just for them to not have nukes, what do we do if Israel goes off on their own to try and decapitate the leadership, right? It's like, well, they have some good replacements, you know, and it's like, it's what the people really want over there, you know? And by the way, I just want to add this in. I'm starting to think Matt Gaetz is full of shit, too. I'm starting to think so right now in this situation. Not that I trusted him before. He was no trustworthy person to me before. He was just you know, some MAGA guy that kind of questioned Israel sometimes and all that shit. But anyone can say words out loud. The questioning in this debate is bizarre. It's like you're taking them off, like, wait a minute, this guy's full of shit. I'm going to let Dave lean into that. Instead, he cuts him off and then starts pulling in a different direction. Now if Dave goes, hopefully Dave goes back to that, but I think they're just going to...
No.
I think they just let it ride. But here we go.
That kind of open defiance of the Islamic regime and disgust with the Islamic regime, also combined with the fact that, as I was trying to say before, that so many Iranians, where it's officially 90% Shiite Muslim and 95 to 99% Muslim in general, and actually only 40% of Iranians now identify as Muslims, is an indication of the deep disgust that the Iranian people themselves have for this regime. There was nothing like that.
Wait, they're allowed to not recognize as Muslims?
Oh, and both of those were wrongheaded and stupid from the beginning. This is a very different situation.
Oh shit! They have a wait. Don't who said it the other day? They have a 6% Jewish population, right? I forgot who said it. One of you guys said it, right? Or was it in a video? 6%.
Someone said there's Jewish, but I don't know. No,
yeah,
it's true.
I think someone said
they might have left. They might have left, right?
Yeah.
With this
by their current constitution, they have to have a Jewish person in their parliament.
Oh.
Okay. What happened to everyone has to wear hijabs then? Whatever. Let's keep it moving.
I guess we were wrong.
And there's a small percentage of Christians there as well. Well, once again, if people left, they left, right?
Well, his whole argument is that they have the whole country is going to topple itself anyways because of the people uprising, which I didn't really hear about, but
me neither.
if that's the whole, I mean, I hear that and I'm like, they're just setting up the narrative.
Oh yeah.
Because if that was there, you wouldn't resort to bombing the hell out of them.
Yeah.
Because that's like honestly, if you do that, you just unify the country against you, right? Like
yeah.
Like they're no longer split because now they have an external enemy. That's exactly how you bring people together when there's an external enemy. Yeah. So I'd call the whole thing like the story weaving that they're making for what they're trying to do.
Yeah, and by the way, before Israel bombed them, Max Blumenthal visited the leadership of Iran. A Jewish guy. He's Jewish and he's American. All right. I know he has political leanings for sure, right? But why would they even allow the guy around there to be near leadership and talk to them? All right. I'm just saying, like, based on the optics they're trying to sell us, right? I mean, it wouldn't make too much sense. Which means, just consider some, nuance here. But all right, here we go.
That the Iranian people themselves have for this regime. There was nothing like that in Iraq or Afghanistan, and both of those were wrongheaded
and by the way, Max Blumenthal would be ruthless with this guy. Like he would shit on him. I think, like he wouldn't be nice about it. He'd just like shit on him. Here we go. I've seen him do it.
Now identify as Muslims.
He's some god-tier debater.
Of the deep disgust that the Iranian people themselves have for this regime. There was nothing like that in Iraq or Afghanistan, and both of those were wrongheaded and stupid from the beginning. This is a very different situation with a very different president.
These are smart
and the
bombs.
idea that he's just going to blunder into making all the same mistakes that George W. Bush, who he knows was a fool and has said was a fool, made. There's just no reason to assume that.
I certainly hope so. There is the argument that we've heard.
Trump has made the blunders that can make him equal to George W. Bush. Let's be honest. We've seen them already. Anyways. Like foreign policy, my God. Like I said, it's still bombing Somalia as we speak. But here we go.
Other campaigns in Afghanistan and Iraq that we would be greeted as liberators. And it seems Robert's making that argument now. Dave Smith, do you see any challenges with that?
Well, let me just, I got to respond to a bunch of this stuff, but yeah, of course, there's a million challenges.
Yeah, let's go back to it, Dave. Yes.
Number one, I wasn't straw manning your position. I didn't claim that your position is to send boots on the ground. That's what a straw man would be. What I said is that your position has an unacceptable risk of being dragged into a situation where we have boots on the ground. So it's not a straw man of your issue.
Dumb as fuck.
I just can't believe, like, the hardest pivot I ever saw in my life from you watching that video of Netanyahu to basically saying a couple scientists dropped dead, and so I could imagine a world where they would have had nuclear weapons. He said with certainty they're 6 months away from being at 90%. Just bold-faced lies. And then, by the way, I mean, just Matt, as basic human beings watching this here, you're telling me that by the 19th time you've gotten it wrong, you don't go, Now, granted, I have been wrong about this 18 times in a row, but no, with certainty, he says they're 6 months away.
Make him answer that, Dave.
Every honest human being knows he was lying to try to lure America into a regime change that he wanted. And why on earth should we do it? On behalf of it, it's just...
Don't add a narrative to it. Just be like, yeah, he was lying, right? And just make him answer that. He was lying, right? It's like over and over, like, okay, that means I'm going to take you as a fucking liar. So everything after this, just, you don't have to believe me, audience, but I'm saying this guy's a liar. If you agree with me, then you understand what's about to happen for the rest of this discussion. It's going to be no matter what, Netanyahu, Trump, they're correct no matter what, no matter the scenario. Like, you're about to hear bullshit. Like, make it known. Like, okay, then this is just we're debating as, like, just a formality. Like, it's kind of whatever now. Because if we were having, like, a serious discussion about the topics for the sake of, like, trying to get the right answer, that's one thing. But where you're just here as a propagandist, then what's the fucking point? Other than pointing out that you're a propagandist. That's the only point I see. That's what I would say to the guy. I mean, personally. Like, okay, our only point here is to just showcase that you're a fucking liar. Anyways, here we go.
So crazy. I just couldn't believe that you completely got away from that. It's like right
Make him
there
answer
in
it
front
now.
of you.
Make him answer it
the
now.
lies are being told. Yeah. It's the same thing over and over again. I'm sorry. What question did you want me
to make him answer that.
I think you got somewhere around there. I'm going to ask you this question. Some say that...
Don't let him smile and look away. He knows he's full of shit. Come on. Damn it, dude.
Dave just dropped. Like, he thinks that his job there is to make a response. And he was done with the response. And you see, even, like, finishes in a downward inflection. It's like, okay, now that's it. That's what I had to say. Yeah. He is not... That demands no response. Yet he has to ask the guy, like, to like, where is that wrong? Like, how... Like, why are you lying? like exactly. Something like.
And just to be an honest debater, just to be an honest person debating, I'd be like, listen, I'm sorry, guys, I'm going to stick into the discussion. I'll still be here and talking and stuff, but like, right now I feel this guy is a liar. I think he lies to people for, I don't know, he lies for whatever his reasons are. This guy's a liar. That's what I would go with. But I think this guy's a liar.
I would have asked him, what is Netanyahu's phone number?
I can't say. It's probably like 666. 666. I don't fucking know. Anyways, all right, here we go. Dave's gonna let him get away with it again, and let these guys control the conversation. Once again, I don't know if Matt Gaetz, I'm starting to feel like he's full of shit. To be honest with you, he feels like it just feels like he's full of shit. Just intuitively based on the questions and the kind of pivoting for this guy. Like, this guy like caught lying, and you still pivot the question somewhere. Like, yo, let him sit in that shit for a while.
Yeah, Matt should say, what's your response to that?
Exactly.
That's his question.
And then as a moderator, you could be like, well, no, hold on. He asked you a question. Can you please answer that? Thank you. And then...
Like, how the fuck are we going to fall for it 19 times? And W said he could only fall for it twice. He going for 19.
Jesus Christ. All right, here we go.
Modern nature of warfare, Dave, is such that everyone kind of has their proxy forces, right? A lot of the Sunni monarchies had their proxy forces in ISIS. We've heard Robert talk about Iran's proxy forces. And so sometimes the neocons make this argument. Well, America needs a proxy force, and we've been paying for Israel for so long. Why not just use Israel to do America's dirty work and give us plausible deniability? They get the return rockets instead of us. Actually, America first would mean giving Israel the weapons so that they could execute this campaign with great effectiveness.
Well, it's not a war that's in America's interest. So I don't see what and a belief. We've had plenty of proxies. I mean, half the world is American sock puppets. We prop up Jordan and Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates and Egypt and.
Okay, Dave. Well, you can showcase here that these guys don't represent Americans. They don't. And you can go back decades where they don't actually represent what people actually want. They may in words, they may in a policy here or there, but as far as overall actions, especially in foreign policy, they do not represent Americans. Let's just be honest about that. So stop saying U.S. They don't, it's not in U.S. interest. Like, it is in these guys' interests, these gangsters that are in government and shit. It's in their interest for sure. For whatever reason, money, power, whatever the fuck. Devil worshipping, whatever their fucking point is, right? It is in their interest. But it's not in the everyday person, right? In America, it's not in their interest. Make that distinction, Dave. Make it very strong so that people realize that Trump is not some dupe falling for shit. He's a gangster just like they are. He's another gangster, bro. And it's been that way for a long time, bro. Our leadership. It's like, damn, do you guys fucking hate us or something? The way you move about. Anyways, there we go.
Israel, and I mean, okay, it's the common theme amongst the countries that people are always
they found out last
regime change against is that they're the few.
What's that? What was that? I didn't even hear him.
Oh, they found out last week.
Oh, okay. Yeah, true. All right, here we go.
And Israel, and I mean, okay, it's the common theme amongst the countries that people are always advocating regime change against is that they're the few ones that aren't American sock puppets. So I don't even know what people are talking about, man. And this whole thing, this whole experiment of America being super involved in the Middle East, it's like I can't even believe people can argue for this anymore. What has it brought us? It's bankrupted the country.
Does Dave actually think people are doing this for honest reasons? Does he think Trump's listen, we need to police the world because it'll make the world a better place. It'll make the world a better place if America's in charge of everything. Does he actually think that's the case? Yo, Dave, do you think this, if you got in the way of any of these administrations, if you got in the way of their agenda, what the fuck do you think will happen to you? How could they be claiming to save the world while also willing to take you out or smear your name or throw you in jail? How the fuck can you read their actions and say they're trying to prevent bad things from happening to you when they will clearly do or allow bad shit to happen to you? Come on. That's naive. That's the most naive shit I've ever fucking heard in my life. If he's going that direction, that is so fucking naive. These guys, they're just making mistakes. This is not, in their eyes, it's not mistakes. It's a part of the fucking deal, bro. I love that video from Corbett where he was talking about Afghanistan, the 20 years in Afghanistan. It had its 20th anniversary, and Corbett made a video about Afghanistan, and he was dismissing this idea, oh no, Afghanistan was not a fuck up. That wasn't a fuck up. That was what they were trying to do. And then when you see things play out, it's damn, that fool got a point, bro. He's got a point. And then you look at all these other foreign policy things, the Syria thing is just so in your face, right? As soon as the Al-Qaeda guy gets in there and you see Trump shaking his hand and then taking sanctions off, should have been well, there it is. That is the decoder ring at the end of the fucking movie. That gives you all what it all meant for, or what it was all meant for. It just gave it away right there. Clear as day. And it's nah, Syria was not a mistake. It wasn't a fuck up. It was on purpose. Duh. So I don't want to hear some shit out of his mouth about that. Oh, Donald Trump's making a major mistake. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's listening to the wrong people. He has bad decision making. Like, no, it's on purpose. How am I wrong? Please go ahead.
You're wrong, bro.
Please go ahead.
A month ago, Donald Trump watched some of All Fears, and he's like, I can't let that happen.
Oh my god.
I can't. A bomb in Baltimore Ravens Stadium that actually came from America. The Iranians are behind it.
Is JD Vance's Ben Affleck? And Netanyahu's is Morgan Freeman. All right. Here we go. I just hope Dave's not going in that direction of just being that dumb. Let's be honest. Like, it's fucking dumb. It's true. Like soldiers on the ground and even some of these generals and shit like that. A lot of these guys are not full of shit, in my opinion. Like, they're real. They're like, they believe something, they move on it, right? Or they're doing it for a career, whatever the fuck the reason is, right? But these motherfuckers and these governments, when you see when they give you here's the conclusion to the story, here it is, and makes you realize what all the events meant beforehand. I mean, it's clear as day at that point. These guys are all like, and it passed on from one president to the next. They all continued each other's script. And it's like, what the fuck, dude? I mean, that's the biggest case for some sort of like fucking Illuminati, fucking Masons, whatever the fuck it is.
When both parties agree, that's the real agenda.
Oh, man. All right. There we go. I hope Dave knows better, but here we go.
Thousands of our bravest young boys who have been killed, tens of thousands of them who have been maimed and injured, tens more thousands who have blown their brains out in the aftermath of these wars. And we're sitting here talking about, again, whether we're going to launch an illegal, aggressive war of choice or help the Israelis launch an illegal, aggressive war of choice. This is, I don't know, this is absolute madness. We don't need to do this. And if you want to look there and say,
but they do.
You know, the argument that, well, Donald Trump said some good stuff about it back then, so there. It's like, yeah, Donald Trump just demanded a complete surrender, dude. I don't know. It's not looking like he's pursuing that policy, and I think we should be trying to do everything in our power to urge him to get back to his previous position. By the way, that was kind of my point when I said that he was betraying MAGA. Whatever MAGA means to you, the point is that he's gotten away from that great stuff he was saying, and now he's demanding a complete surrender. Sir, you demand complete surrenders from nations you are at war with. What are we doing here?
Yeah, I want to talk about the cost of that war with Robert. One of the things that
I'm so wrecked, bro. This is kindergarten.
A lot of millennials resentment over the regime change wars in the
Middle
Middle East.
It's more like third grade, fourth grade politics.
And so I wondered,
because no one's just like thinking. He's just rattling off factoids, right? And kind of pleasantries about, I don't want Americans to die, and it costs a lot of money, right? It's like fourth grade shit to me. Because, like, I think the real in-depth politics is when someone uses their fucking thinking and they're not just going to be like, all right, listen, this is Matt's show. I don't want to be rude or anything, you know? Not that Dave has to be rude or anything, but like when someone's lying to you, doesn't it kill the whole point of a debate in the first place? I thought the point was that everyone can hear different ideas and see them compete against each other. But if the other guy's just a fucking liar, then what are we doing then? Is it just something to embarrass some fuckface we won't remember in 2 fucking days? Like, come on. What's the point then? Is it to embarrass him or something? Is it to win for Dave? Like, what's the fucking point?
They think they're doing, like, rap battle diss tracks back and forth. See which one's more memeable.
Like, guys, just go back to college or something and go join the fucking debate club. In fact, there's so many fucking groups out there. Go join a debate club on your own. There's probably a men's league out there. Go join it.
OAN needs to go viral, bro. That's what's really trying to happen, you know? Try to get a viral video going.
Yeah. Trying to one-up Ted Cruz, bro.
Matt brings it back to the money. How much did this cost us the first time? It's like speaking to his base.
$8 trillion.
Like, come on, man.
The year?
The total for both wars, I guess.
Oh, I'm sure it was more than that.
Well, that's the number they kept citing, and Trump's even cited that number.
I almost want to hear that.
It's a selling.
Yeah,
that's a selling point for vote for me. I won't fucking be costing you $8 trillion.
Oh, $8 trillion? Okay.
Yeah.
I give a
$8
fuck
trillion.
about
Yeah,
money,
that sounds right.
Whatever. Makes me almost want to listen to.
Conservatives care about money.
Got it.
Well, that is a ridiculous amount. Like, that's not even
human beings
I wouldn't
care
even put
about
that in the economic topic.
morality.
I would think it'd be like that seems like a huge portion of like what the nation does if it's that size.
Yeah, I almost want to listen to this one guy who's like a military dude on YouTube. I started diving into fucking military guys. Like, I mean, it started off with Tim Kennedy because people were saying he had stolen valor or something. I thought it was interesting, and I just went down like a rabbit hole. But this one guy I guess he made a video on this topic, Iran, Israel. And I'm curious what his take is. I assume he's against it, right? Like, he's like a real dude type of thing. He's not like, you know.
You got a name?
I forgot his fucking name. He's like probably like a bodybuilder now or something. But he was like I think it was Special Forces, like a communications guy or something, like the radio guy on the ground or whatever. You know what I mean?
If you're talking about the group of,
it's like Valhalla something is the name of the channel.
If you're talking about the group of guys that are well known as veterans, there's like 8 of them. They are like interlinked with each other. They're the unsubscribed channel. No, they're gung ho for the Ukraine war. They're gung ho for this.
It wasn't these guys. These guys, I've seen more of their content where they're exposing like fake valor shit, like Tim Kennedy lying about things he's done.
Oh,
or
the old guy, Navy SEALs guy.
That's that's the guy who did like interviews on these guys' channels. I don't think he has one himself. I think I know who you're talking about.
No, the guy I'm thinking of went around the country and found people that did some stolen valor.
Oh no! This
guy
is
like 60 years old.
Well, this guy's kind of old too. He was a SEAL too, and he's like, "Yo, these guys are what's his name? Chris Kyle. What's his name? Chris Kyle, right?" He's like, "Oh, this guy's full of shit." The American Sniper dude.
Oh.
Like, oh yeah, this guy's full of shit, and he's a psychopath. He's like, "Oh, this Jocko Willink guy, he's full of shit, and he's a psychopath." Like, they make us look bad. These guys make the SEALs look bad. That's why I'm out here like touring or like exposing these guys. There's a bunch of these guys that do that because they don't like the stolen valor shit where you like claim to like, yeah, I did a barrel roll into the room, took out like 5 dudes and did a backflip. Then like they're like, that didn't happen, you fucking liar. Like they don't like that shit at all.
People do that.
Yeah. But I saw that guy. His name's Valhalla something. I saw he did a video on it. I didn't watch it yet, but I'm curious what his take would be. And I think he'd be like, yo, this is stupid. This would be stupid thing to just jump into. But, all right, here we go. Here's more of this quote-unquote debate.
If you'd given any thought to, like, what's an amount of money that is worth it to the American taxpayer to cause a regime change in Iran?
Money?
I'm sorry,
well,
Iran.
there's no doubt that this is
we also love Jesus, too, at the same time.
That has been not paid sufficient attention to.
Love Jesus
and
money
fact is
and
that
guns.
Osama bin Laden actually launched the 9/11 attacks in order to cripple America economically.
This
and
is
why he chose to target the World Trade Center,
how much
thinking that it was the center of the economic activity of the United States. And so there's no doubt
I wanted to interrupt
that
him.
he had tremendous success with this.
Yeah. Well, part of me turned my brain off because I'm just like, oh, money question.
Osama bin Laden cost us money.
Yeah. I mean, money questions, I'm like, fuck off. Fuck off.
Well,
yeah, but he can't even answer that
way.
But
yeah,
he cannot
if it's not that way.
It's like politics. Like when you see presidential candidates for debate, and they have topics that they cannot touch. Like they'll ask them straight up. They'll ask them, and so you just refuse to answer it. So, like, what is the point of this, right? Like, he's just he's doing PR.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna let this fucking breeze by. Fucking money questions. For me, at least, I'm just like, yeah.
And the American economy has suffered tremendously in all kinds of ways from the war on terror.
Dave's going to bring up this.
Which was
what about the Strait of Hormuz, huh?
And wrongly pursued from the beginning. Dave's going to say, but
we pay
on the
for
other
him.
hand, you have to balance economic considerations against considerations of survival.
He's going to say the Strait
and
of
Dave
Hormuz.
was saying, are we going to go to war for Israel because Netanyahu wants us to go to war? Even if Netanyahu and Israel didn't exist, you have a regime that, as I showed earlier, has repeatedly attacked the United States, is on a war footing with the United States, has been since 1979, has incredibly hostile stances toward American policies, has kidnapped Americans, tortured Americans, killed Americans. Meanwhile, the rhetoric, yes, is frankly about destroying America. And this is something
he had to read that one.
But how much money, Robert? Is it worth $1 trillion?
He's like waiting for.
So, we got it. We've heard. No. We've heard you lay out the list of criticisms. The question is, what is it worth?
The subtext here, though, is like you're.
Hold on, man. It's right here.
A lot to me. Yeah.
Do you think that toppling the Iranian regime is necessary for American survival?
If they attack, if they have a nuclear weapon, and they are attacking Americans.
But just as you find them now, as you find them today, however that is, do you think it's worth $1 trillion in U.S. spending to change the regime there?
To change, you mean just like willy-nilly out of the blue with them just minding their own business? That's not the situation that we're in.
Well, no, I didn't say that. I said in the situation
at that point, you could probably just pay them to leave.
Not
like, hey, guys, here's $1 trillion. Leave. All right. We're out of here. All right, just give us $1 trillion. We'll relinquish our power. All right, see you guys later.
Yeah, but if you hand them $1 trillion, it won't go to the same place the money's going now.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess.
That's
talking out of my ass right now, bro. I just can't care for the money thing. That's an added argument, but it's like, come on, we're talking about murdering and killing people, dude. This is priority one for Jordan.
Yeah, well, I agree about the money.
Money's part of it.
I agree that the money doesn't actually matter, but I see
it does.
Him revealing dishonesty in the line of questioning. And like it kind of uncovers what the actual motives are, because, or at least eliminates some things, because if your objective is whatever, and he's trying to clarify that, and he says, well, why don't we just do this? Like when he said the computers were broken for years and years and years. It's like, well, why don't we just keep on doing that, right? Like,
yeah.
That is like, I think that was good in the sense of like, what are your real objectives, and are you just telling me this, but you actually mean something else, because it doesn't make sense. There's much easier ways to do what you're saying. So then you're really saying something else. So you're lying. And I think that like there's multiple paths. They're using the money thing, but I think it does kind of reveal things, even if the money thing isn't important.
Well, I'm just saying, there's people.
Everybody, that's true.
Well, people getting these arguments about
because
fucking
of the
money.
military-industrial complex. That's why it's.
What?
That's why it really matters.
Let's be real. Well, people argue this shit most of the time about the money because they're thinking about money. That is the point of the argument. Is like, oh, we're losing money. We want money. We're losing money. Instead of like the direct like, but isn't this gonna like kill a shit ton of people? That's all I need to hear. That's all I need to hear. But, you know,
Well, that's not full spectrum dominance now, is it? It's not full awareness.
No, it is.
Money's part of it. No,
yeah,
money's part of it.
I understand money's a part of it, but I don't need that when I'm talking about the dead bodies on the ground. I don't need to look at a dead body on the ground and be like, huh, what's his life insurance policy? I can, like, okay, fine, it's a part of people dying in society. Got it. But, like,
no,
why is that person down on the ground? Let's look at that.
No, it's more like you consider the 40,000 view from this, and we bankrupt ourselves so that we could be enslaved by our overlords here as well.
We already do that. They don't need money to do that. They already do that. It's already done. You were a fucking Trump supporter for how many fucking years? They don't need to give you the money. They don't need to give you any money. They still worked on you anyways.
Let me fucking say what I'm trying to fucking say.
All right, dummy, go ahead.
The reason they want to bankrupt us is so that we can be controlled.
They already had. Look at that. Did I just say that? Like, weren't you controlled?
I'm not fucking controlled. Either way you fucking look at it, dude.
You fell for a lie.
It's dumb what you fucking talk about. You fell for lies. You've fallen for lies all your life.
No, that's you, bud.
You too, dummy.
Where?
Everywhere you go.
Like what?
All kinds of things. You are. What do you keep? What's that word you keep saying?
Feels way off topic.
It is. It's way off topic.
Guys.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's on topic. Yeah. It showcased that this fool fell for something without getting paid for it. Nothing about money.
You fell for shit.
Not about money or nothing. He just fell for it. Did he get paid? Did you get paid to do that, Dubster? Did you get paid for that? No, you didn't, right? You just fell for it. Got it. Money not needed to control people. Got it. It's a factor. It's a factor for sure, but so are trees and fucking laptops. They're all factors. Like, everything's a factor. Yeah, in the most broad way of saying it, they're all factors.
Money's not... You don't think money's significant to the level of technology bombs can be significant?
I think money's significant in the sense that it is another big mind control thing, for sure. But it's like people self-mind controlling. They just take advantage of it. Hey, man, I'll give you 10 grand to go kick that kid over there. Don't worry, you won't get caught. Don't worry, just do it. Manipulation.
The fact that
they got you to do something bad over money. But you're not. Let's focus on the bad thing.
This aspect of it shows how you don't get it.
I'm not discounting it. It's not being discounted. It's just like, if you can't get through the dead body on the ground, if you can't understand the dead body on the ground, if that doesn't get to you, then I'm like, fuck, we got bigger problems. Way bigger problems. If it took the money argument to get you into it, if it took the money to get you into the topic, to be like, man, something wrong's happening because money. And I'm like, oh, fuck, psychologically, something's wrong there.
Who are you claiming needs the money to be the lead
bro,
on it?
That's a whole libertarian thing on its own, bro. That's one of their things. Ron Paul used to not make moral arguments for why we should do this or shouldn't do that. He'd only talk about money, and people were like, yeah, Ron. I think deep down, Ron Paul thinks it's morally wrong, and I think deep down, a lot of people think it's wrong. But their ego is only attached to, like, look at all the money we're spending. And it's like, fuck. That's your biggest worry? Holy shit.
Well, Dubster was posting about Palestinians when they were cutting off the resources and they're starting to starve them. I remember he was posting about that stuff. It's like...
No, my point with him was that he didn't need... It had nothing to do with money with him when he was fucking falling for shit. I'm just saying. It is not the only... It's definitely not the main factor, in my opinion.
You're falling for shit, too.
To get people to be tricked by shit?
Keep on bringing the insults. I got the same exact insults on you.
Where?
You fall for shit every day.
Where? Once again, he doesn't have examples.
In America.
doesn't have examples of it, but
You support Bernie.
I gave him a blatant example of him supporting.
You're a big old leftist.
Supporting a politician that he didn't realize was bad till last Friday.
I didn't say that. I said Donald Trump retired on Friday. That's what I said.
How long? Okay, do you have a timeline? Since you're so aware of your own surroundings and you're not brainwashed at all.
Yeah, Friday he retired.
Tell me what. Give me the time period where you actually changed your mind on Donald Trump. Like, what is it? How long did you fall for his shit? How long?
I've always known of his compromise with Israel.
Oh, okay.
It's always been
so
a question.
Now I had the excuse to say it's Israel's fault. He's doing nothing. It's their fault. Is that where you're going?
I am not going anywhere. I answered your fucking question.
You're saying all this, all the events, it's all just his true support for it, like true love for Israel? Or is it corruption?
No.
It's corruption?
You and I do not know why he is bending over backwards for this Iran thing. You and I don't know.
We have some evidence for that. Some evidence for possibly why and where he's going, because you could take a president that's not Donald Trump and they seem to be pushing in similar directions. Pretty crazy, huh? Sure, Obama did a nuclear deal, but he still gave a shit ton of money and weapons to fucking Israel. And obviously,
he also gave a lot of money to Iran.
As part of their deal, yeah. He gave them their own money back. But he also funded the war, funding wars in Syria that led to the airspace being open for Israel to attack Iran now. Oh my God.
Syria too.
Almost like they're contributing to each other, each president from one to the next.
We funded Syria too.
I'm asking you, when did you realize Donald Trump was full of shit?
But are you not hearing me? We funded Syria as well.
Yeah, I know. That's what I just said.
So Syria, Assad has been in a alliance puppet for his entire time.
Oh yeah, I could believe that. He thought he was good pals with the Western nations, then they were like, nah.
Yeah.
What about it?
You're not counting that aspect into it ever.
Oh my God. Oh, I'm talking to a fucking potato.
Why do you think he's not dead and he got to flee?
I'm talking to fucking dial up internet.
Why do you think Assad was allowed to flee?
Why was he allowed to flee? Is that Russian allies?
What? Why was he allowed to flee when we have bombs that can fucking hit somebody, hit a penny's head?
Dude, the point wasn't
from 1,000 miles away.
Bro, none of the points was on the surface was to take Assad out. On the surface.
Oh,
we had planes flying over. We had planes flying over Syria and drones flying over Syria all day and night.
Yeah.
The point was for you dummies to be like, he didn't start any new wars. That was for you dummies. Most likely. See, look, we're not at war. It's a civil war over there. It's a civil war. It's not us. And every time Al Qaeda needs an air force, Obama's like, look, Obama or Trump's like, look, a gas attack. Let's bomb them. Boom. Al Qaeda and ISIS's fucking air force, because they don't have air defenses and air fucking missiles.
The Ottoman Empire was split up by the winners of World War I.
Oh my God. He's avoiding the question. When did you stop being brainwashed by the Donald Trump phenomenon? When did that happen? When did you realize I got fucking tricked?
I was never brainwashed by the Trump.
When did you figure out you got tricked? Have you not figured that out yet? Were you lying the whole time? What say you?
I'm thinking about the question at hand.
That is the question at hand.
I don't think I was ever tricked. I think he has a different plan than I do with handling things, and I don't like what he has chosen.
So he's a good guy. He's a good guy with a bad idea.
Let me fucking finish saying what I'm trying to fucking say, man.
Don't cry, bro. I'll get you some tissues later.
I'm not. He is connected to these people before he was president, and they have an agenda, and he agreed to it, and that was probably part of getting in, and I don't like that. And I did not know of that. I wasn't sure of it. I've always thought to become president, you have to be compromised in some kind of way.
So you know he's corrupt and you support him anyways. When did you stop supporting him?
I don't.
You're like, okay, he's corrupt, but I'm okay with corruption. So when did you stop?
There are topics he has to this day I 100% agree with, and there are topics
like what?
Today I 100% do not agree with.
What do you agree with?
Well, the top things is deport illegals.
We just showed that's not the case. We just showed that's not the case. So let's keep that moving. You got debunked.
Well,
you got debunked on that one.
Deporting the illegals.
No, he's deporting some people, not the other ones you want. Remember the guys you said like, oh, this is like fucking indentured slavery, or whatever the fuck you called it, right?
Well, that's a compromise, and I don't like the compromise.
It's a plantation.
He's still deporting He's still deporting as a significant, not a significant, an amount of.
Is it just about brown? Be real. Is it just about brown people, or is it about people that commit crimes in this country?
No, it's all illegal aliens, meaning cross the border illegally. Get the fuck out.
So if someone's seeking asylum, right, and they go through the legal process here,
that's not a legal
you still want
alien.
You still want those guys kicked out. But those guys have been kicked out here. Some of them are in El Salvador right now.
There's no proof that they did asylum correctly.
What do you mean?
The proper procedure for asylum is outlawed by law, outlined by law.
You almost wrecked my shit right there. Outlawed by law. It's like, fuck.
Outlined.
Fuck, we're getting below fucking dial up on typewriters. Yeah. Pretty sure that guy was here on asylum from a country where we deemed their leader a drug lord of South America. And he said he's being politically persecuted in that country. So he came to America as Donald Trump instructed, went through legal processes, and then had a tattoo that said mom and dad, but there was crowns on the mom and crowns on the dad part. So they rounded him up and shipped him to fucking El Salvador.
You talking about Maryland, man?
No.
Garcia?
No. How about the gay hairdresser from fucking Venezuela?
Oh, he's gay. That's deportable. That's against our law too.
So he runs out of shit and he starts trolling. You got nowhere to go. Trolling. You got fucking fooled. You got tricked.
That's punishable by death.
You got tricked. You got fooled. You're afraid to admit it.
Like I give a fuck about a gay hairstylist.
You got trolled by a fucking orange penguin, and you're afraid to say it out loud. But we all know. We all seen it.
Was he being threatened his life for being gay?
His reasons for seeking asylum?
Yes.
They might have been political. But he might have been like, oh, it's because I'm gay, they're treating me bad. Which I guess would be political, too.
So what was his political position that was not favored?
Possibly not liking the Maduro, because, let's be real, their economy, because of sanctions and all that shit, their economy gets fucked up, right? And if a citizen blames their president for that shit, maybe I think he said he was wrongfully jailed or something in Venezuela, and then he fled the country after. I'd have to look that one up, though. But I think I heard that. And it wasn't for, like, committing a crime. It was for, like political prisoners type of shit.
If it's legit that he was politically
it's only one person, too. It's just the most obvious example.
If it was legit that he was seeking political asylum for being an opposing politician to the regime, that is something that would be something that fits for asylum. But then comes into the question, are you really what you're
See, you're trying to recomplicate this instead of going with where it's at on the surface. Guess what? There's people that went to the border in Mexico and said, hey, I'm seeking asylum. And then the country let them in, right? And you're like, oh, that's Biden who did that. It's still your president. It's still the laws of the land. He still is allowed to do that. Just like Trump's abusing his power, maybe Biden abused his there. Why are you blaming them for that?
Political persecution.
If they go through legal means, why are you blaming them for that?
Political persecution, you have to prove that you have
United
a
States of
rightful
Dubster.
reason to seek asylum.
United States of Dubster, where no one actually listens to the motherfucker.
Read it. Go read the fucking laws on it, man.
Go read the laws like these motherfuckers follow laws, you dummy. Are you fucking stupid, dude?
Dude, what is asylum for? We will not accept you. Asylum's for we will not accept you legally. Okay, I'll apply for asylum. Fine, we'll look into your
go look up the AUMF. Go look up the AUMF, and then tell me about Soleimani.
Legality. It's like this is
we'll
very
look
obvious.
Into your case. We'll look into your case, and you get a fair shot. If we find out there's something wrong with your application,
but that's not how life works, does it?
We will deny it.
That's not how life works, though, Dubster. I can't believe I have to teach you this.
Asylum's the backup of backups. Illegal immigration.
That's not how life works.
Immigration.
Do you actually like that? That's not how it's being done, though, right? So this deporting of illegals.
Rome, dude.
Huh?
The reason why we don't accept illegal immigrants goes back to the fall of Rome.
You say we, but you're not in charge. They don't care about your opinion either.
Yeah,
it's not an opinion. It's fucking history.
But you're talking about law.
Act like they're following it, dummy.
You're talking about law,
child.
And that's why we want it, dude. We don't want to fall like
you're saying illegals, but they're going. they're actually preventing people from completing, like they stop somebody like on the day of their citizenship. They stop people on the way to getting their paperwork, like when they have appointments. Like they're detaining people, preventing them from doing the legal process. So if you're taking away somebody's citizenship on the same day before they get it, then it's
you're
not
a cunt. Then you're a cunt.
No.
Then you're a
cunt.
You're missing
the point.
Trying to appease idiots.
It's not about
and it works.
Hold on.
At that point,
here's how you apply for asylum. You go to the Gaetz.
I'm not talking about asylum. I'm talking about if you're going for citizenship, you're getting you're getting your green card.
You're not in the country until you get it.
You're going on some. You're going on a subset of you're basically creating a scenario that is for your argument. You're creating a scenario.
You're not in our country until you are a citizen. If you've done it legally.
That's not always true.
What we're talking about.
That's not always true.
But it's the way it's supposed to be. The way that we're fucking talking
about.
Oh my
god! Someone tell this fool the tooth fairy is not real. Holy shit!
That is a subset of the scenarios. There's many scenarios to get citizenship, and to be in the country legally. There's so many layers of that, and there's different rules for different cases. Not everything is asylum seeking.
Well, I'm telling you the rules that I want.
But they're not doing that.
I don't care. I'm talking about what I fucking want.
You could say what you want, but the Trump guy's not doing it, you dummy.
Just off rip. Not every case.
He's getting these people out.
Unless you work on farms or at hotels and shit like that. Unless you're in Democratic states.
Yeah, I know. That's a compromise. I don't like
if you're in Democratic state. Oh, wait, no, it's not even compromising.
It's not a compromise.
It's corruption. It's blatant corruption. Blatant.
Okay, fine. It's corruption. I don't like that corruption.
So you got tricked by a guy who's corrupt. Unless you don't care about morals, right?
I don't agree with everything fucking Trump does. There are things I do agree with what he does.
Well, that one's a fail already off rep.
Okay, I agree.
So then what's the next one? You told me it wasn't a foul. I just said it was. You're like no, it's not. Now you just agreed it was a foul. So let's move on to the next.
No,
what's the other?
No, I didn't. I've been saying I did say it was a fucking fail. I've been saying it since he's announced that shit. I'm saying I agree on the fact that he is getting illegals out.
Just anyone.
Do you agree
yes,
with
anyone?
Do you agree
That's
with
what
getting
the goal is.
the people legally here out?
God, this guy's a fucking little cunt.
Like the protester.
You're a little
from,
cunt, bro.
Like he got out
little
a protester
horn motherfucker,
who was
bro.
on a green card, right?
Fake tail.
Do you agree with that?
Wannabe, you Party City devil worshiper, bro.
For his speech?
Fake ass motherfucker.
They deported him for speech, right? So he had a green card.
Problem is, he's a wannabe. That's the whole problem here.
Well,
he's a fucking wannabe, but
we
he can't
pick and
make
choose the laws we want to enforce.
The problem with him,
the
problem with him is he has history of being some kind of intel person.
Who's intel?
Wait. You're saying that there was a guy on a green card, basically a lawful permanent citizen, who they knew he had whatever, however you worded that, but he still had lawful permanent citizenship. And the day he protests is when they're like, "Oh shit, he's been doing all this other stuff," which they didn't even tell people about.
Which are
they
bullshit.
didn't even say anything about that.
Which are bullshit.
Yeah,
it was found out that he was in the UN or what?
Yeah, it does sound like bullshit.
A Palestinian version of the UN that's tied to the UK, right? But that's not their claim. It's not their claim, right? So they're fucking the law up then, right? Aren't they, Dubster? Aren't they subverting your little law? The thing you love so much, aren't they fucking it up? Are you allowed to just make up a crime just to get someone in jail? Are you allowed to do that? Doesn't that subvert your law? Doesn't it make it pointless?
Biden, yeah.
But if Trump does it, it's good. He can't say that now. He can't be like, yeah. Sorry. Before on last Thursday, he'd be like, yeah, that is the case. But now he can't do that because Friday happened.
I told you I didn't like this thing about the censor, the guy that was against
another
Israel.
L, bro. Oh my God. The wreckage. You wreck yourself so incredibly, bro.
So I don't know why we're walking through this again. Like, you got to own on me when I agreed with you on it.
No, I was asking you when do you stop being brainwashed by the whole Trump phenomenon?
I was never fucking.
Oh, you weren't brainwashed. You fell for it. You fell for it.
There are things Trump does that I agree with, and there are things Trump does I do not agree with. That's it.
What has he done that you agree with?
He's deported illegal aliens.
But that doesn't work, though. That doesn't work, though, right?
Yes, it does. It's working.
Doesn't it subvert the process of? No, doesn't it subvert the whole process when you say, "Well, these guys can stay and these guys got to go"?
He's building the economy.
Doesn't that do an even worse precedent than like letting them all stay? I think that's probably worse, isn't it?
Fuck no, get them all out.
No, but he's not getting them all. That's the thing I'm saying here. He's not doing that. It's almost like he's being selective. If he's being selective, then it subverts the law itself. It's like murder applies to these guys, but not these guys, right? Do you see how that subverts the law? And now the law is like kind of meaningless now. It's now toilet paper now at that point. Does that point make sense to you?
Yes.
Do you think that's happening? Okay, so then so you don't like him on deportation. Got it. Next.
I like him on the fact that he is deporting people. I want him to do a lot more. A fucking shit ton more.
But the reason why it hasn't done more isn't logistics. It's choice. I'm choosing to prosecute this, but not this. Meaning he's subverting the law. The thing you love so much. He's subverting it. Which means you don't like his deportation policy. His policy is to subvert it.
I like the fact that he is deporting people.
Oh my God. So if he spins in a circle, closes his eyes, falls backwards, shoot a bullet in the air, it falls down and hits Netanyahu, you're like, yeah, Trump got him. Good job, Trump. Or is it just by accident?
If he did that, a lot of our cops.
You're still brainwashed, in my opinion, bro. Not even by Trump, by something else, but you're brainwashed for sure. If that's you're not actually looking at the topic.
If Trump spun around in a circle, shot
as long as the result is this,
that'd be a great result, wouldn't it?
Like, you are in full blown I accept subversions, meaning like, oh, all right, a new rule here. We're gonna kill everyone named Alan, and they murder everyone. Well, at least it's not me. And then you see him just slowly go down the alphabet. And you're like, hey, it's not me yet, though. It's all good.
You're trying to paint my character in a certain light, which isn't working because it's not my character.
Oh, I think you're full of shit, dude. On plenty of things, for sure.
I don't give a fuck what you think about.
I think you're an alright guy in other places, but certain things, you're full of shit. I definitely believe it. I don't care. It's just what I believe.
No, I'm not fucking worried about what you believe.
Fine, but I'm saying it anyways.
I'm not trying to own you all the time on every fucking thing you believe.
Bro, you believe in rounding up brown people because they're brown. That's what it sounds like.
When did I ever say that?
Or, sorry.
Besides jokingly.
Illegals.
When did I ever say that?
Illegals.
Yes.
Which is like this, like...
I don't care if you're European, Asian, fucking Mexican, green, or fucking South American. If you're here illegally, get the fuck out.
Exactly. Which is why I call you a devil worshiper. Do you see how that makes sense?
Which makes no fucking sense.
It does make sense.
It makes zero
you
fucking
like
sense.
malice shit. You like shit that harms people.
How is nationalism?
Meaning some guy out that once again that Jesse brought up outside of his immigration meeting, where he's trying to do things legally, like get him the fuck out of my country. Guess what? You're a malice worshiper at that point.
He's already broken the law by being here without being at the gates.
And you jaywalk, but no one. It's about human beings. They're just things on paper, dude. Not everyone follows the fucking law.
Green card, lawfully permanent citizenship card. He lives in the United States.
I don't agree with green cards. Apply for citizenship entrance at the gates. Either have a passport and be a visitor, or you're not coming in.
You're talking about the law. That it's literally.
I don't agree with the laws. All the laws. I'm talking about what is actually lawful, not what is.
It's what you want.
You don't know the fucking difference.
He wasn't.
You don't know the difference between a law and a statute. So it's fucking a loss of your thinking to not know the difference between a law and a statute.
That person is not an asylum seeker. He is already a lawfully permanent citizen. Basically, can convert to a citizen after a few years.
I don't agree with them being a lawful. Fully vetted. What'd you call it? A lawful stated
permanent resident. Lawfully permanent.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. It's not constitutional.
Another reason why I call you devil worshiper.
Immigration law. This has been like that. That is how you become a citizen. If you want to know how you become a citizen, that is the step. You have to do that first. When somebody gives you citizenship, when you're outside of the country,
according to the laws of now,
when you're outside of the
originally.
Country, let me explain to you, because you think you don't actually understand how it works. If they give you asylum,
big surprise there.
When you enter the country, you don't get a citizenship card. You don't get a citizen passport. You get a lawful permanent resident. That's what they give you when they accept you to live in this country forever. And when you get that, after so many years, usually it's 5, but it could be 3. But after so many years, you can then convert it. Some people don't ever convert it; they just leave it. They're already here. They have basically all of the privileges, almost, of a citizen. They don't need to do that. They could just keep living here. They could work forever. They could do everything. That is the process. That's how you become a citizen.
I don't agree with any of it.
Because he's an idiot.
It's not lawful according to the Constitution.
And then, but also, no, make your argument deeper,
Dutcher. You don't know the Constitution of it. Then.
You need the Prince of Peace to also be like, get the fuck out of my country. The Prince of Peace is like that too, isn't it? According to you?
Just look up the part of the Constitution. Go ahead, so you can understand it.
Well, I thought the idea was we can make up laws in order to fit the way we live. I thought that was part of the Constitution too. So it's like more feasible for maybe our temperament or what we believe in as a collective.
Those are called amendments.
Got it.
Those are called amendments.
So that's why it's there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
And it's almost like that. That's almost like how reality works, isn't it?
What amendment addresses?
No. I'm saying how reality works, not the fucking words on a piece of paper. Like, we jaywalk all the time, right?
They're all statutes.
Should we turn ourselves in, Dubster? According to you, should we turn ourselves in for jaywalking? We all do it all the time, right?
It's a statute. It's not an amendment. It's not a law.
Isn't there a legal thing about it?
It's called a statute. It's not law.
So you're allowed to jaywalk. So if you walk outside of a walking thing and I get hit by a car, I would be at fault, though, right? In that situation? Because I was jaywalking.
No,
right?
The vehicle's at fault.
Actually, I think it depends on state. But
no, it depends on actual history.
I think it depends on state.
Like it was.
Actually, I think it depends on people. Like what they want to do with that. They try to read the scenario and be like, okay, who's at fault here? What's wrong here? Right? And then they use the law as some sort of excuse to do the thing that they were going to do as a person. Just like one judge will rule it one way in regards to, someone protesting Israel and they're going to get thrown out of the country versus another judge. That's why they pick and choose their judges they used.
Now you're talking about interpretation, which is not law.
That's people.
Yeah.
If people aren't here, your laws mean nothing. They need people to act on them. Duh. But I guess you think the world works in a vacuum or something? We follow the paper. Maybe you want to, but these fools have never done that. But yet, you were supporting Trump. To go back to the main point.
Because he was doing a lot of things I liked.
Like what?
Wasn't doing everything I liked.
Like what?
Like deporting illegals.
So wait. That means you were still dick riding him up until this year. So maybe it's not on last Friday, but maybe it's close to last Friday.
I still like that he's deporting illegals. I still like that he's deporting illegals.
Holy fuck.
I still like that he's attempting to build the economy.
You're lucky you're too dumb.
How that's going, I
with a big, beautiful bill. Now. He's cutting expenses with Doge in a big, beautiful bill. Bigly.
You're lucky you're too dumb, Dubster. Like the Antichrist would be like, this guy can't have him near me. He's too dumb. He can't join my team. I know you'd want to, but they'd be like, too dumb.
I don't want to be on your team. You're the dumbest fucking team out there.
What's that?
You.
This fool gets rolled every time he fucking shows up. Almost every time he shows up here. He just says those stupid words out loud. I'm like, all right, I gotta roll this fool. He rolls himself instead. Then I get back to my video. You know what I'm saying? But that was worth it. 100% worth it. I still like him. I mean, I still like,
not an idyllic situation or not a catastrophic situation.
Oh, it's tricked. I wasn't tricked.
I think that the United States should act right now to either attack
Am I fighting Jordan or fight
change
myself?
the
I can't
regime
tell.
in Iran. If Israel acts, we should support them.
With how much money?
Iran could well attack. And if Iran attacks, we should be prepared to defend ourselves.
Is there any limit on the amount of money, resources,
material
you would give Israel in this battle?
This kind of adds to my point what I was saying, where there's this obsession with the budget and all that shit, right? Because he's double, tripling, quadrupling down on the whole, like, how much is it going to cost, right? But there was questions where this guy was clearly caught off guard. The other guy, maybe not caught off guard, but like he's clearly like lying. I think it was pretty obvious to see. And Matt didn't double down on that one. He turned the page. But this one, he's really like hammering this point about what about the budget? What about the debt? It's like I see Zero Hedge here. I'm like, I know this guy loves money and apparently Brad Pitt abs. And I'm just like, I don't know. This seems like a pattern, something familiar. I don't know. And it's like people miss out. I'm like, hey, isn't there a dead body right there? Well, how much was he worth? It's like, fuck, idiots. Anyways, there you
go. Well, the money is very bad because the people in Washington behave as if the money never runs out. And so I'm not really in favor of giving out money in general.
Oh, but damn, so he's on your side, guys.
Coming to issues of survival of the United States,
Dave,
then
chime
we're
in.
going to have to shell out. At the same time, we have tremendous economic problems
as far as
in
safety,
the United
right?
States
Priorities.
that I believe ought to be addressed, and foreign aid ought to be stopped.
Say something, Dave.
So
are you actually making the argument that this is a war of our survival, that we won't survive if Israel doesn't overthrow the Iranian government?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all.
So how is this a war of survival for us?
If they attack the United States, it's a very different situation.
Can I just say, when you say attack the United States
is imminent.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, just like a clarifying question. I just want to ask you a clarifying question because I just don't. When you say the United States of America, we might be talking about different things. Like I'm talking about the geographic area between Mexico and Canada, like the middle section of North America. When you say they've attacked the United States of America, when has Iran attacked the United States of America?
He's going to say army bases.
If you're limited to that, then you can talk about the assassination attempt on Masih Alinejad, the Iranian dissident in New York a few years back. You can talk about
our army bases
the attack on the, I believe it was a Saudi diplomat in a restaurant in Washington a few years before that. You can talk about...
they made claims. Did they ever even demonstrate that was Iran?
What's that?
That is such nonsense, dude. There is no proof that Iran was trying. You're telling me Iran was trying to assassinate Donald Trump? Matt Gaetz, you know the man, okay? You're telling me Donald Trump, they tried to assassinate him, and Donald Trump's response was to negotiate? His response was to negotiate with the...
I'm going to say this. A Manhattan federal prosecutor...
This is like Dubster bringing up the rule of Skips McGee in 1855. That's why you got to round people up in 2025. It's like dumb, like that level dumb.
Prosecutors in November 2024 charged Farhad Shakeri with plotting to kill Trump before the election at the behest of the Iranian government and the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps. They ordered an operative to assassinate Trump. His name is Farhad Shakeri. You can look him up. He's been charged. I don't think Manhattan federal.
Robert,
absolutely no proof.
Did we also have sort of a revenge plot in
I'm sorry,
the
Dubster, I'm going too far.
On an assassination attempt? As I recall, there was this belief that an individual had motivated an assassination attempt against George H.W. Bush, and that was something that inspired his son.
Saddam, right? Saddam was supposed to have done that, and so W wanted to do it. But this, because W
is that similar to you?
That he's Trump once again. Okay. And so, look, also there have been the fact that the Iranian leadership has said that they want to assassinate Trump. Not Spencer, not Benjamin Netanyahu, but the Amir Ali Hajizadeh, who was the head of the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps Aerospace Force, 2023, says, Allah willing, we're looking to kill Trump and Pompeo, and military commanders who issued the order to kill Soleimani should be killed. Ahl Bayt News Agency, January 23rd, 2021, the Supreme Leader's website posted a photo montage of Trump playing golf under the shadow of a drone with calls to avenge the death of Soleimani.
Sir, how are you possibly not advocating that we declare war on Iran right now? How is Donald Trump such a wimp that his response to this, they're trying to murder him, and his response was to negotiate?
They've made this point before, and it still doesn't work. It's still horrendous.
Iran right now. Everybody should.
Dave, we already know this guy's trying to drum up war, or he's a part of it, right? He's a part of the narratives creation shit to bring us to war, for sure. I think that's pretty obvious. But I think you're trying to do the dumb guy IQ test question. It's just not this is not the one. I don't think this is the if they tried to kill Donald Trump, why is he being such a wimp then? Why does he just go to war right now? Maybe because he doesn't have an actual real reason to. But I don't know where I think
I think part of his line of reasoning is because this is actual Dave coping through what he was believing until a week ago. He kept making justifications, at least in his mind, about Trump, and it's he's not really doing that. So he believed these things, and so now he's trying to reconcile those ideas, and now that he doesn't fall for that scenario, he's pushing. That's why I think it's part of his reasoning is because he fell for that.
Yeah, someone else fell for it too. They might be in this Discord call.
A lot of people, I think, fell for.
A lot of people did.
Him like saying that he's doing this for peace, like negotiating for peace.
I mean, that was one of the most just 5 minutes of research. And like, okay, this is bullshit. There is no actual real negotiations happening.
Yes, but at the same time, like everybody was lying about what the actual topic was, right? Like where the lines were. Like,
yeah.
If you look at 100 different reports on it, like 80% were probably like misrepresenting what the topic was actually, like where the line was and all that.
Including quote unquote lefty outlets, all right? Or mainstream lefties.
Yeah.
And it's like, Iran wants a nuke, but Trump is saying no. And they have a red line there. Like, no, that's not the actual scenario. But who cares? It's only people's lives we're dealing with. Who gives a fuck? Here we go.
They tried to murder the president.
Right? Only experience in
because
existence.
the fact is that Trump is a man who makes deals. He's for all the talk about him being a narcissistic egomaniac or whatever, he is actually extremely pragmatic. And
all right, hold on. Let me.
And that's why the neocons like Trump so much.
He understands
they realize he's a part of the plan.
Here. If he can pacify this situation with the deal, he's willing to do it. But I saw the video of Trump being killed by the drone that the Supreme Leader posted. You can't tell me it was fabricated. It was right there on his account.
We are out of time. We are out of time, again, but I do want to get...
I'm not saying it justifies it, but let's be real. Trump was sharing AI videos of him sipping Mai Tais on the beach with Bibi in Gaza, right? After, they kick him out and turn it into... beach resorts and shit. Just saying. Maybe they looked at that like, okay, we'll respond to you with another AI video of our own. And like, yeah, they're all petty dipshits. Dipshits and devil worshippers and all that shit. But
right. Y'all have a good night.
Good luck with your conscience stuff, sir. Have fun with that one. Anyways, here we go. I think they're ending it, but I'd see if there's something.
A final word from each of you. I'm going to give you each about a 1 minute closing statement. We'll begin with Dave Smith.
What a debate.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, again, as I was getting at there, Iran has never attacked the United States of America. And this is just like 2003 all over again. All this war propaganda. I get all these lies will fade away. Every single war starts this way. You remember at the beginning of the Ukraine war when there was the ghost of Kiev and the war was going to be fought with sanctions alone and that was going to drive the Russians out. You remember how the Afghan army was going to hold the country together. They told us that for 20 years. You remember when the surge was going to work in 2007 and Dick Cheney said the insurgency is in its final throes, and then it just went on for years and years and years, and hundreds of thousands of more people died. You remember when they said mission accomplished? You remember when they said they had weapons of mass destruction? It's all the same thing again. This is so naked right in front of all of us. We are choosing to engage in another aggressive war of choice to overthrow another regime in the Middle East. That's what's going on right now, and it is absolute madness for anybody to support this. It's just the last thing that the United States of America needs. And all of this hyperbole about how we will be finished is absurd.
Robert Spencer, your final word.
Get him, Dave.
Again, this is a straw man because this is not what I'm saying. I'm not in favor of a war of choice for regime change in the Middle East. I'm saying that Iran poses a very real threat. It is a nuclear
and there
threat.
Won't be a
this
war.
Is abundantly documented by the IAEA and others. The foreign minister of France recently was talking about how Iran poses an imminent threat. He doesn't have any reason to be in the pocket of Israel. As a matter of fact, the French government under Macron has been quite hostile to Israel. And so the idea that this is some kind of war for Israel and a repeat of 2003 is completely out of...
His counter is nothing about what he was saying.
Yeah, but also, let's be real. Everyone's like, yeah, Trump's doing this because he's controlled by Israel. Now this guy, now he has room. He has a lot of room there, and he can use it. But then again, here we are. We like stupid, apparently, around here. Like, dude, stupid is good. Granted, it's still fourth grade stupid, but it's still stupid. It's advanced past kindergarten. It's 4th grade stupid. But then again, I might actually lower that to second grade stupid. Because the way Dave argued, like he had so much area to move in, just didn't eat up the ground, if you will. But yeah, I'm gonna use you to wreck you. Like I don't like forget about me. I'm gonna talk about you, and you're gonna wreck yourself in real time. But here we go.
Focus. Trump, above all, has learned the lessons of 2003 and the drastic mistakes of Iraq and Afghanistan. We're not talking about boots on the ground.
Mistakes.
If regime change does come in Iran, it's most likely to come from the Iranian people themselves. And we should be supporting them wholeheartedly in every way that we possibly can.
So we don't need to do any more then, right?
But even saying that out loud to me is like they're
yeah, they're gonna be working behind the scenes, but that's behind the scenes. That's different than like there's an active war. Like he's almost like pretending like that's not happening right now.
Yeah, exactly. And once again, I'm saying like Trump does not actually have to bomb Iran or go to war with them. Right? He doesn't actually have to do that. I mean, he already is, but I mean, like, overtly go to war with them. Directly attack them or whatever. Because we've seen the Syria and Libya, like, I was like, they need the Libya option. Which was, well, that's, and again, that's like, directly bombing, but maybe more so the Syria option. Where it's like, oh, we can just fund these groups to go in there and fuck it up. Don't worry. Like, Americans, they'll just see Arabs either way. They'll assume they're Iranian or they have, like they're violent people, right? That's all we understand. They're violent people. So it would make sense to see some brown guy in the Middle East killing some other brown guy in the Middle East. It makes sense. It makes sense. So thus, if you fund some groups in there, right? And they start fucking shit up. But, well, look, it's a civil war. Without any, like, no one reads into it. No one looks into it. It's just, oh, it's a civil war. These guys fight anyways. That's what the Middle East is. It's a bunch of bombs going off and left and right? That's what it is. There's no, like, regular people living there. It's just a giant war zone, except for Israel. Israel's, like, a peaceful place where they have pride flags and barbecues and shit like that, right? Everywhere else, though, man, these guys just love bombs and bullets and AK-47s. And guess what? That propaganda still works now. That still works now. I'm not joking when I say kindergarten or first grade or second grade. Like, I kid you not. The game is psychological, and it fucking works. Let Dubster be your example. It fucking works. And or Alex Jones or any of these guys that believed 9/11 was an inside job, right? People that believe that shit. And now look at that. I mean, well, Alex, I think, is paid. I don't think Dubster's paid at all. He gets nothing for his bullshit. But it's like, damn, didn't you guys believe in, like, the government purposely killed 3,000 of its own people for the sake of going to war in the Middle East? And now some guy who's been a rich billionaire that's been worked with mobsters and all that shit, that's been connected to all these people for most of his life, right? He's been connected to all these politicians and billionaires and rich people and all that shit. He's been connected to them his whole life. Somehow, these motherfuckers think this dude is now something different than them. Without question. Without question. How the fuck does that happen? Someone name that psychological phenomenon to me. You tell me what it is. I'd be like, oh, you guys got brainwashed. You got brainwashed. Or conditioned or whatever, right? But that hurts too many feelings. So I guess we call it, like, okay, you got tricked. And maybe that doesn't even work. Like, fuck. What do you say then? You say, I didn't get tricked. I like some of this stuff. I can't name what I like, but I like something. I promise. This is where we're at. And if you think Dubster's some sort of isolated incident, I don't think so. I think there's plenty of people like that. Once again, I made a video on purpose where it's like, yo, if Trump says, "I've made a decision, I'm not gonna bomb Iran. I will not bomb Iran. I told y'all he's the peace guy. No one was listening to me. He's the peace guy." Not realizing all the shit the guy's already done. It was already done. And then they're, once again, maybe fall asleep. Who knows? Might fall asleep and not pay attention. Like, okay, well, what's the deal that's happening in the background? What's that? He said he loves peace. He's a peace guy. Forgive me for calling you dumb if I hear someone say that. Forgive me for these things. I'm not perfect. You know? Sometimes I gotta just call people dumb. It's fucking dumb. Anyways, I guess I'll play the rest of this. But it's just like, once again, I think psychology is such an important aspect of, I mean, just being existential in the world. Just experiencing life like freely. Like really experiencing life with your eyes open, not to be looking for conspiracies everywhere or looking for political things everywhere, but just in life in general. Just to actually soak in and enjoy life and discover things and learn things and be curious about things. Like psychology is so important. But some people like their heads in buckets. And I don't know what to say about that. It's just sand, bucket, head. Pause. Anyways, there we go.
Robert Spencer is the director of Jihad Watch. Dave Smith is host of Part of the Problem podcast.
That's it. All right. There is a full-scale, almost 3.5 hour reaction to kind of a lackluster debate, but you also got a debate within the debate that Dubster lost. It's about winning, trust me. But yeah, it's more it's just like Dave asked some good questions or made some good points, but didn't dig into it and didn't try to pull the guy and not like, yo, let's stay here, because once this logic is exposed, it kind of like the rest of it the tower kind of can fall at that point. If you showcase, like he said, okay, blatant lies of Netanyahu, right, of lying about Iranian weapons, or he got duped, 19 times in a row or 18 times in a row. Like, make this guy stick with that. And it's like, okay, well, at the very least, you don't want that guy in office because he's been tricked so many fucking times, right? At the very least. Now, the point isn't to be like, oh my God, he's such a big Netanyahu supporter. The point is to say, the point is that, okay, this guy smells like he's full of shit. And he's here to spin narratives and spin ideas and to make them like palatable to regular people, right? The point is to make it seem realistic or palatable. But you get him to denounce, you stick with the logic to get him to denounce the guy that's ahead of it. Okay, there's one fucking leg off the chair. If he has to go up there and say, well, Netanyahu, yeah, he lied and he sucks. He lied. He's full of shit. He lied. He could be lying now, or he's incompetent. Either which way, we can't run with Netanyahu on this topic. There's one leg gone. Boom. Then you can pivot to Trump if you have the balls to, Dave. And you can knock down him. He went with Syria. That was a good point. Explain what happened in Syria, and then make this guy say, yeah, well, Trump was right about that. Make him say he was right about it. If he can't say he's right about it, then he has to say he's wrong. Okay, why was he wrong? Either he's, I guess, corrupt, or he fell for a trick. In which case, another leg gone. Now you have a chair with 2 fucking legs on it. It's like, at that point, I think you know where it goes. Like, now we can't be like, well, the U.S. should do it. Like, well, who's president? If this guy's president and he's incompetent or corrupt, you can't allow him to be the guy ahead of this. And he's working with this other president who's corrupt or incompetent. So you can't be in favor of these guys executing this thing. Maybe you have an idea. Like, then you have to go another direction. Maybe you have to say, oh, well, listen, these guys don't really run the country by themselves. They have a whole team of people. oh my God, are there people behind the scenes actually making policy for these guys? And they're not actual decision makers? I think that would take another leg out. But there's also more other topics and epistemological questions you can ask to dig into, like, hey man, are you lying? or did you get tricked? Once again, humanity, the name of the game. Or it's about letters on pieces of paper. You tell me. Alright, there's your video. Please subscribe if you like, comment, agree, disagree, tell me what you think. I know we got into a random argument near the tail end. For the most part, we were sticking to topic. But, you know, life happens. We're not robots, you know? We're not running on scripts. We do what we do. But yeah, tell me in the comment section. Don't forget to share, support, hopefully donate to all the links in the description box. Check them out, read them, share them, then donate. And with all that said, give this video a thumbs down.
Say you wanna get in.